Chapter 528. When Qin Wentian saw Yi Kongfan taking the initiative to invite him, the coldness in his eyes grew even more intense. He then spoke, "Princess Lingshuang is the host, it's only right for her to take a seat first." As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere suddenly became subtle. Today Yi Kongfan's original intention was to usurp the host position, intentionally causing Yi Lingshuang to lose face. But now that Qin Wentian allowed Yi Lingshuang to sit, didn't this mean that he would have to sit beside Yi Lingshuang? Yi Kongfan's eyes flashed with an undetectable coldness. He inclined his head and stared at Qin Wentian, only to hear Mo Qingqing saying, "Princess, please go ahead first." The soldiers on both sides exuded an oppressive aura, as a faint killing intent permeated the air. These soldiers were all extremely powerful. Clearly, this was arranged by Yi Kongfan long ago. But at this moment, Mo Qingqing also asked Yi Lingshuang to sit, causing Yi Kongfan to be placed in a difficult position. "Since the Holy Maiden is so polite, Princess, please take a seat first, lest the Holy Maiden has to wait there." Those beside Yi Lingshuang naturally urged Yi Lingshuang to take a seat. How could they weaken the prestige of the royal clan? Now that they had the help of Qin Wentian and the Holy Maiden from the Medicine Sovereign Valley, it was naturally for the best. If not, if Yi Kongfan really sat on the throne, Yi Lingshuang wouldn't be able to remain here. Yi Lingshuang stared at Yi Kongfan, after which she lifted her feet and walked towards one of the main seats. At this moment she could clearly feel the pressure bearing down on her. But as the princess of Yi, she had to bear the pressure. No matter what, she couldn't allow the Qi King to have his way. A cold wind gusted by. The atmosphere here was extremely strange. Everyone could feel it. Yi Lingshuang walked down step by step. Yi Kongfan's eyes flickered and finally, he smiled as he spoke, "Princess, please." As the sound of Yi Kongfan's voice faded, the pressure on Yi Kongfan instantly dissipated as though everything had returned to normal. This caused Yi Lingshuang to feel even more shock in her heart. Yi Kongfan's control over the situation had far surpassed her expectations. Sitting on the host's seat, Yi Lingshuang turned her head and smiled at Mo Qingqing. "Holy Maiden, please be seated. Sit beside me." Mo Qingqing smiled at Qin Wentian, who was beside her as she sat down. Qin Wentian sat beside her, while Yi Kongfan sat one seat below Yi Lingshuang. The others all sat down as well, and only then did the atmosphere here relax. "Holy Maiden, there's a total of 12 battle platforms in the Yi country's battle arena. You can challenge each other or challenge the warriors of our Yi country. There are experts of all cultivation realms on these 12 battle platforms, and everyone has a chance to display their strength, becoming the center of attention. In the history of the Yi country, there were countless people who rose to fame after a single battle, and there were even some who became the pillars of the Yi country." Yi Kongfan smiled as he introduced to Mo Qingqing. Mo Qingqing's countenance was emotionless as she stared downwards. The battles on the battle platforms were extremely intense, and there were indeed many outstanding characters. In fact, the combat prowess of the experts in the middle arena seemed to be exceptionally strong. The 3 battle platforms in the middle are the 10 victories battle platform, the 50 victories battle platform, and the 100 victories battle platform. Only those who won 10, 50, and 100 battles consecutively would have the qualifications to fight on those 3 battle platforms. Those 3 battle platforms would attract the most attention. Yi Kongfan noticed Mo Qingqing's gaze as he explained. Although Yi Lingshuang sat on the host's seat, it was as though he was the master of this place. The combat prowess of those on the 100 victories battle platform are all extremely powerful, but sometimes demon-level characters would appear. Not only would they be able to ascend to the 100 victories battle platform, they would even dare to jump levels and challenge the other participants. Such characters would be directly recruited by our royal clan. Yi Lingshuang introduced to Mo Qingqing. "The Yi country has existed for 10,000 years, and the spirit of martial arts is truly admirable." Mo Qingqing replied, her words causing a look of surprise to flash past Yi Lingshuang's eyes. Before this, she had heard that the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was cold and arrogant, silent and taciturn. Regardless of nobility or when the princess consort spoke to her, she wouldn't bother with them at all. However, no one dared to have any objections. After all, her status was special, and she had a country-toppling beauty akin to a celestial maiden. But at this moment, Mo Qingqing was actually willing to chat with her. Yi Lingshuang knew that even though she was a princess, she didn't have that much face. The only possibility was that this was because of her junior apprentice brother, Qin Wentian. Seems like this holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley's feelings for her junior apprentice brother Qin Wentian weren't ordinary. If not, she wouldn't have thought of him for so many things. This made her feel that the life and death of her royal father, Qin Wentian, depended on Qin Wentian. Junior brother Qin, a few days ago, you suddenly followed senior brother Lin Shuai into the battle sword sect. Not only that, you were even accompanied by the elders of the sect. I'm really curious, where did you come from exactly? Senior brother Lin Shuai clearly has high hopes for you. Yi Lingshuang stared in the direction of Qin Wentian, as did Mo Qingqing. She had many questions she wanted to ask Qin Wentian, but right now there were too many people around and it wasn't convenient for her to do so. Qin Wentian naturally understood their thoughts. He smiled and replied, "Back then during the battle at the Pill Emperor Hall, you should know that I was heavily injured. It was Qing'er who helped me, allowing me to regain my human form. After that, Granxia fell into chaos and I established my own power, destroying the Great Chang clan. However, I was also heavily injured. Sadly, I didn't manage to destroy the Pill Emperor Hall. After that, I roamed the world and came to the Xianqing city of Granshang. By a stroke of good fortune, I coincidentally encountered the recruitment of the 9 great sections. It was at that time that I was brought to the battle sword sect by senior brother Lin Shuai and the others." The others didn't really understand what Qin Wentian meant when he said that he had regained his human form. But how could Mo Qingqing not understand? Although Qin Wentian spoke in such a calm tone, it was clear that he had experienced many storms in his life. Yet, she actually wasn't by his side. In that case, the person flaunting his might in Xianqing City was none other than you. An expert from the Violet Thunder sect coldly snorted as he stared at Qin Wentian, causing the gazes of the crowd to turn to him. A few days ago, the Battle Sword sect caused quite a commotion when they went to Xianqing City. All the 9 great sects sent people there, including one of my martial uncles from the Violet Thunder sect. During the battle at the Xianqing Manor, there was one person who was exceptionally arrogant and even killed several members of my Violet Thunder sect. After that, he was forcefully brought away by the Battle Sword sect. That person didn't know the details. He only heard his fellow disciples discussing this matter. At that time, he hated himself for not being in Xianqing City. Who would have thought that he would encounter that person here? Those from the Violet Thunder sect were already extremely unhappy with Qin Wentian. Now that they heard of this matter, their eyes flashed with coldness as a faint pressure gushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered. He could see the killing intent in his opponent's eyes. He icily replied, "On the battle platform, life and death are determined by fate. The Violet Thunder sect wanted to kill me. Yet they died in my hands. They were useless." As the sound of his voice faded, the eyes of the crowd flickered with coldness as their battle intent intensified. Qin Wentian actually said that the Violet Thunder sect was useless and deserved to die. This was simply smacking their faces, boasting shamelessly. Beside the 100 Victories battle platform, there are many people who have obtained 100 victories. If you have the strength, do you want to challenge them? That expert from the Violet Thunder sect stared at Qin Wentian, his eyes flashing with lightning. "Who the hell do you think you are? Do the disciples of my Battle Sword sect need to use the Yi country to prove themselves? Don't forget that back then on the sacred battle platform of the Royal Sacred Region, your Violet Thunder sect was like a stray dog." A young man from the Battle Sword sect mocked. In the Royal Sacred Region, the atmosphere of martial arts wasn't only limited to the Yi country. It was the entire sacred region. In the entire Royal Sacred Region, the sacred battle platform was undoubtedly the highest. On the sacred battle platform, the various transcendent powers of the Royal Sacred Region would often contend against each other. Even the disciples of the 9 great sects would often fight on it. Once, when the disciples of the 9 great sects contended on the sacred battle platform, the Battle Sword sect was the strongest. Hence, the combat prowess of the Battle Sword sect had always been the strongest. For those supreme geniuses whose names shook the entire Royal Sacred Region, many of them were also famous on the sacred battle platform. They were unrivaled among those on the same cultivation level, and were even invincible when fighting against those at a higher cultivation level. They could be said to be true absolute geniuses, sweeping through all their opponents. When this person mentioned the sacred battle platform, it caused many from the Medicine Sovereign Valley to recall those supreme geniuses. Yi Kongfan from the Violet Thunder Sect, Shang Tong from the Grand Shang Empire. None of them belonged to the category of absolute geniuses. In the eyes of these people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley, only those characters were worthy of their holy maiden. These words were undoubtedly a provocation to the Violet Thunder Sect. The experts from the Violet Thunder Sect all radiated a powerful battle intent as they stared at Qin Wentian and the person who spoke. If you have the guts, you can go up and spar with me. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over. The people from the Violet Thunder Sect had provoked him time and time again, and Yi Kongfan even lusted after Mo Qingcheng. Even a clay figurine would have anger, let alone someone like him. He stared at the person who spoke. His cultivation base was at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. An expression of disdain involuntarily flashed in his eyes as he stated, "You are not qualified to fight against me, Qin. You." That person was infuriated, pointing his finger at Qin Wentian. No matter what, he was a genius from the Violet Thunder Sect. How arrogant was he? Yet Qin Wentian actually had such a disdainful expression on his face. However, his state of heart was also extraordinary. He instantly suppressed his anger as he mocked. To think that the people from the Battle Sword Sect are all cowards. Don't be rude. Does my Battle Sword Sect need to prove anything to your Violet Thunder Sect? Lu Yun drank a mouthful of wine as a look of disdain appeared on his face. Those from the Battle Sword Sect are our guests, don't be rude. Yi Kongfan faintly spoke. Only then did that person coldly laugh. You're right, we shouldn't let our guests lose too much face. Let alone in front of the Holy Maiden. However, given how graceful the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley is, I always thought that the companion of the Holy Maiden would be a heaven chosen of the younger generation. Who would have thought that? That person shook his head as he sighed. What a pity. Killing intent flickered in Qin Wentian's eyes when he heard this. However, he only saw Mo Qingcheng lightly pulling his hand. Turning his head, Qin Wentian only saw Mo Qingcheng smiling gently at him. Evidently, Mo Qingcheng wouldn't care about the words and gazes of others. In her heart, Qin Wentian was once unrivaled in Grand Xia. Now, in the royal sacred region, he would also rise above the rest sooner or later. Not only that, even if Qin Wentian was a mediocre person, so what of it? He was still the person she loved the most. Turning her gaze over, Mo Qingcheng stared at those from the Violet Thunder Sect as a cold glint of light flickered in her eyes. These people wanted to drive a wedge between her and Qin Wentian, insulting Qin Wentian with their words. Yet, they didn't know that they had violated a great taboo, truly angering her. Princess, before the injuries of the human emperor recover, I will continue to stay here. In addition, I will send someone to seek help from the seniors from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. I can only trouble Princess for a little longer. Mo Qingcheng glanced at Yi Lingshuang as she spoke. As the sound of her voice faded, Yi Lingshuang was overjoyed. Her heart pounded as she replied, "Why would Holy Maiden say such words? If this is the case, Lingshuang will be eternally grateful. The entire Yi country will be grateful to Holy Maiden for your kindness." At this moment, Yi Lingshuang's heart was filled with shock. Seems like she had still underestimated Qin Wentian's position in Mo Qingcheng's heart. Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. He glanced at the person who spoke earlier, his eyes filled with a bone-piercing coldness. His words of provocation towards Qin Wentian had caused Mo Qingcheng to make up her mind to help the human emperor. How could Yi Kongfan not understand? There was no longer any hope for him to pursue the Holy Maiden. Chapter 529. Mo Qingcheng's words caused the atmosphere to grow even more tense. Those from the Violet Thunder Sect all felt resentment in their hearts. They wanted nothing more than to fight against those from the Battle Sword Sect. These disciples of the Battle Sword Sect were all arrogant and had their eyes on the top of their heads. They didn't even place the other 9 great sects in their eyes. Although there were grudges between the 9 great sects, the ones they hated the most were none other than those from the Battle Sword Sect. This man is truly powerful. His cultivation base is only at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. Yet his combat prowess is so terrifying. At this moment Yi Lingshuang spoke, breaking the silence. She turned her gaze onto the platform, only to see an expert whose entire body glowed with a golden light. Of course he's powerful. This man cultivates the invulnerable golden body. His defense is immensely strong, and when he attacks, runic light illuminates the skies. Yi Kongfan laughed. This man has already won 100 victories today. Yet he still can't find a match for him. The spectators all had strange expressions on their faces when they heard Yi Kongfan's words. It seemed that Yi Kongfan was extremely familiar with this man. This man has already joined the Qi King Manor. And indeed, a person beside Yi Kongfan spoke. Does anyone from the Battle Sword sect wish to give it a try? There's no need to. He will lose for sure in the next battle. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. A smile of disdain flashed in Yi Kongfan's eyes. He was very clear of the strength of that golden-robed young man. How could he lose? His gaze drifted over to the platform, only to see a skinny young man clad in black robes appearing. This person exuded an extremely cold aura. Just a single glance at him would cause one to feel a chill down their spine, despite the fact that his aura was only at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper. This man is extremely dangerous, but with a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, he will lose for sure. An expert from the Violet Thunder sect spoke, causing the gazes of the spectators to turn over. On the platform, the sound of tsunami-like roars could be heard, causing Qin Wentian's eyes to flash with sharpness. Since these two were already on the platform, it was clear that they were famous and had already obtained the glorious battle record of 100 victories. I'm afraid you will be disappointed. Qin Wentian replied calmly. Very soon, a battle broke out between the two of them. The golden-bodied young man's entire body shone with golden brilliance, and the terrifying shadow of the indestructible golden body appeared behind him. When he attacked, his palm energy was monstrous, as if it could shatter the heavens and earth. It was extremely overbearing. The black-robed young man didn't clash head-on with him and only dodged ceaselessly. He moved between the real and the fake, and his footsteps were exquisite. Strands of bloody light flickered and suffused the battlefield. The golden-robed young man's attacks grew more and more violent, as if he wanted to destroy everything in his path and finish off his opponent. When he struck out with his palms, golden runic light transformed into a giant palm imprint that wanted to crush and annihilate everything in front of him. The violent storm of attacks blasted the black-robed young man into retreat, and he would even be struck by the powerful winds occasionally, causing him to spit out blood. Seems like your judgment isn't that good. This isn't a battle on the same level. The expert from the Violet Thunder sect stared at Qin Wentian as he mocked. This battle is indeed on a different level. It's about to end. Qin Wentian's voice was as calm as ever, causing the expert from the Violet Thunder sect to laugh coldly. What a stubborn mouth. Such an obvious result, yet you still want to twist words and force logic. I want to see if after this battle ends, you will be the one to slap your own face. Qin Wentian stared at his opponent as he spat out a word, idiot. You. No matter how strong the endurance of the expert from the Violet Thunder sect was, he couldn't endure Qin Wentian's repeated provocations. Not only that, this black-robed young man was already destined to lose, yet he still wanted to distort the truth? This made them want to give Qin Wentian a good thrashing. If it wasn't for the Holy Maiden being here, someone like you would have already died countless times over. The killing intent in that expert's eyes flickered as he spoke. I heard that the Violet Thunder sect is also one of the 9 great sections. Who would have thought that there would be so many idiots here? I'm ashamed to be in the same group as you all. Qin Wentian was as calm as ever as he calmly spoke. However, his words could drive people crazy. Even those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley and Battlesword sect couldn't understand where Qin Wentian's confidence came from. It was obvious that the black-robed young man was at a disadvantage, yet he was so confident that he would win. I hope the lover of the Holy Maiden isn't someone who only knows how to use his tongue. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley sighed in their hearts. This Qin Wentian's eloquence was truly impressive, able to infuriate people with just a few words. But if he didn't have true strength, it would truly be too disappointing. After this battle ends, I will definitely give you a good smack on your face. An expert from the Violet Thunder sect couldn't help but to speak up when he saw Qin Wentian's unrestrained insults towards the Violet Thunder sect. He wanted to directly smack Qin Wentian's face. Who asked him to humiliate the Violet Thunder sect like this? Qin Wentian merely coldly glanced at him before turning his attention back to the battle platform. The attacks of the golden-robed young man grew increasingly violent and the battle was about to end. Those from the Violet Thunder sect had smiles on their faces while those from the Battlesword sect were frowning. The disappointment in the hearts of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley grew even more intense. Only Mo Qingqing believed in Qin Wentian's judgment. Not only because of her relationship with Qin Wentian, but also because she was familiar with the black-robed young man. Rumble. The violent sounds of attacks rocked the entire battle platform. The golden-robed young man was about to claim the life of the black-robed young man, but at this moment, no one noticed that the eyes of the black-robed young man flashed with an incomparably cold light. In the next instant, the golden-robed young man's attack froze in midair as his countenance turned ashen. Boom! The black-robed young man stomped down, slamming his palm into the golden-robed young man's body. In an instant, the golden-robed young man's body withered up. His eyes were wide open as he fell onto the battle platform, dying on the spot. A victor of 100 victories was actually killed by someone who jumped levels to kill him. The hearts of the spectators were all filled with shock. Those from the Battlesword sect all had gleams of sharpness on their faces as they stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment. How could he be so confident that he could predict the outcome of the battle? Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley also had gleams of sharpness on their faces. Seems like Qin Wentian's judgment wasn't what they had imagined. As for those from the Violet Thunder sect, their countenances all turned ashen. The ending of this battle caused them to feel extremely uncomfortable. Their faces were burning with a burning sensation. Thinking back to the exchange of words earlier, how ironic could it be? Haha, this face-smacking is truly satisfying. Didn't you all know how to shout arrogantly? Why are you all mute now? Lu Yun laughed uproariously. The experts from the Violet Thunder sect all felt extremely uncomfortable. This was simply a great humiliation. Senior brother, why must you be so calculative with a bunch of idiots? Wouldn't that lower your status? At this moment, Qin Wentian didn't even glance at those from the Violet Thunder sect. He was persuading Lu Yun, but his words were extremely piercing to the ears of those from the Violet Thunder sect. Kong Fan, although they are our guests today, how dare they act so overbearingly, humiliating us with their words? If our Violet Thunder sect still doesn't have anything to say, wouldn't we become the laughingstock of others? A 5th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereign from the Violet Thunder sect coldly spoke. How laughable. Clearly, you guys were the ones who thought you were infallible, and even said that you would slap my junior brother's face after this battle. In the end, you were the ones who were slapped, yet you still want to bite back at us? Today, I've truly experienced how powerful the Violet Thunder sect is. Lu Yun coldly snorted. Seems like junior brother's words were right. We are all from the 9 great sects, yet we are ashamed to be in the same group as these people. There's no meaning in squabbling. Although you guys are our guests today, since you guys dared to humiliate our sect, let's see who's stronger. Yi Kongfan's demeanor was extraordinary, wanting to toss aside everything with a single sentence, wanting to spar with the experts from the Battlesword sect. But before that, go invite that person over first. This person is extraordinary. Yi Kongfan instructed his underling. Yes, Crown Prince. One of the guards flew towards the direction of the battle platform, wanting to invite the black-robed young man over. Although he didn't know what methods this black-robed young man used, the fact that he killed the golden-robed young man was clear to all. Yi Kongfan naturally wanted to recruit him as a subordinate and replace the golden-robed young man. The guard received the order and left, and not long after, the black-robed young man was invited over. Looking at the black-robed young man from such a close distance, Yi Kongfan discovered that the black-robed young man's eyes were filled with an unfathomable loftiness, exuding a dangerous coldness. It was as though there were no signs of life in his eyes, and they were extremely cold. If it was someone with a cultivation base lower than him, the look in his eyes would definitely cause them to shiver. Your strength isn't bad. Are you interested in joining the royal clan of my Yi country? I can recommend you to join my Violet Thunder sect. Given your strength, you should be able to pass the test. Yi Kongfan spoke to the black-robed young man. However, Yi Kongfan discovered that the black-robed young man wasn't even looking at him. That pair of deep eyes was staring at a seat above him. Yi Kongfan frowned, following the gaze of the black-robed young man, only to see that the person the black-robed young man was looking at was actually Qin Wentian. Why are you in Yi? The black-robed young man asked Qin Wentian, before glancing at Mo Qingcheng, feeling somewhat taken aback. I'm currently in the battle sword sect. This time around I came to Yi because one of my senior apprentice sisters is the princess of Yi. As for you, I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Wentian was taken aback. There's no place for me in Granxia anymore. The black-robed young man calmly replied. However, Qin Wentian didn't know that during this period of time when he was away, the black-robed young man had caused a huge storm in Granxia, causing people to tremble in fear upon hearing his name. It was unknown how many experts were chasing after him. What are your plans in the future? Qin Wentian didn't probe further. He calmly asked. In the future? The black-robed young man contemplated for a moment before continuing. After Lu Min's death, I no longer have any worries in my heart. In the future I will follow you. A strange expression appeared on Qin Wentian's face as sympathy appeared in his heart. When he thought back to that day outside the ancient kingdom of Granxia, he couldn't help but to sigh in his heart. He didn't expect that Mu Feng's only kin would meet such an end. The heavens were truly too cruel to Mu Feng. This black-robed young man was none other than the demon-level genius on the fate rankings of Granxia, Mu Feng, the disciple of the Poison Monarch. Back then, Di Feng disguised himself as Qin Wentian and caused the deaths of his entire family. In order to take revenge, Mu Feng almost poisoned Qin Wentian to death. After that, Qin Wentian didn't kill Mu Feng and even helped him find the culprit, Di Feng, to avenge him. At that time, Mu Feng knew that his life was saved by Qin Wentian. After that, he followed Di Tian, Yunmengi and the rest into the ancient royal tomb of Granxia. Mu Feng was the inheritor of the Blood Emperor. Who would have thought that today he would arrive in Yi? Chapter 530. As to why Qin Wentian was so confident in Mu Feng, it was naturally because of his proficiency in poison. Once he had personally witnessed Mu Feng killing people without them noticing. Even he himself had been poisoned by Mu Feng before. Back then on the Heavenly Fate Rankings platform, Si Qiong's combat prowess clearly surpassed Mu Feng's. But in the end, although he won, he paid a heavy price and was almost killed by Mu Feng's poison. Si Qiong was someone who could cause others to tremble in fear. Even those whose combat prowess was much stronger than him would easily die in his hands. This was especially so under the circumstances where they didn't know what type of poison he was proficient in. Not only that, Mu Feng's personality had changed, becoming colder and colder. Now that he had obtained the inheritance of the Blood Emperor, he would only grow stronger. Hence, when Qin Wentian saw Mu Feng being suppressed in every aspect, he still felt that Mu Feng would definitely die in his hands. And the truth was indeed so. At the very end, Mu Feng managed to kill Si Qiong, allowing him to retreat unscathed. Upon hearing Mu Feng say that the girl who dragged him along all those years ago had also died, Qin Wentian could only sigh in his heart. He lightly nodded his head. Fine, you can follow me from now on. Mu Feng didn't say anything more. He quietly walked to the back of Qin Wentian, like a shadow. If one didn't pay attention, it was as though he didn't exist at all. Yi Kongfan didn't expect such a situation to occur. He initially wanted to recruit Mu Feng. Yet Mu Feng couldn't even be bothered with him, choosing to follow Qin Wentian instead. This was the very same Qin Wentian whom they had a grudge against earlier. Without a doubt, this made Yi Kongfan hate Qin Wentian even more. Those from the Battle Sword sect and Medicine Sovereign Valley also felt their hearts trembling. They didn't expect that the delicate-looking young man beside Mo Qingcheng would have such a side to him. His cultivation base was only at the peak of the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper. Yet a character like Mu Feng didn't even consider Yi Kongfan's invitation, choosing to follow him instead. This caused them to re-evaluate Qin Wentian. The holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, Qing'er, was deeply in love with him. Not only that, the Battle Sword sect also knew that a similarly beautiful Qing'er existed beside Qin Wentian. Yi Lingshuang thought of how Qin Wentian comprehended 14 sword strikes in just 5 days. She couldn't help but silently speculate in her heart. Most probably, none of them truly understood Qin Wentian. What had he done in the desolate Grand Xia? This caused Qin Wentian to gradually become more and more mysterious in their hearts. After all, for a woman like Mo Qingcheng, just based on her beauty, even if she didn't have the status of the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, she would still be the moon surrounded by stars. And for a terrifying character like Mu Feng, no matter what relationship he had with Qin Wentian, he was still willing to follow Qin Wentian. Not only that, the battle sword sect sent out so many experts to the Xian King city, including senior Lin Shuai and an important elder under sword sovereign Ling Tian, yet they only brought back 2 people. One was Qing'er, and the other was Qin Wentian. Could there be more than meets the eye? Back then, how heavily injured was Mo Qingcheng? Who was it that sent her to the Medicine Sovereign Valley? Who was it that personally treated her? Even the Medicine Sovereign had to expend a great deal of energy in order to treat her? Who had the face to do so? After all, when Mo Qingcheng was heavily injured, it was impossible to tell her talent. One could only say that the person who sent her to the Medicine Sovereign Valley was extraordinary. Yi Lingshuang wasn't a fool. The more she thought about it, the more shocked she felt. She cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian beside her. There were many people in the battle sword sect who weren't ordinary. Naturally, they would also think that this junior brother of theirs was different from the rest. However, those from the Violet Thunder sect wouldn't think so much. Right now they only felt that they had lost all face. This was especially so when they had the absolute advantage today, yet they were in such a predicament. This was something they couldn't accept. Yi Kongfan's eyes flickered with coldness. Beside him a figure stood up. Momentarily, the gazes of Qin Wentian and the others all turned to him. Everyone! A loud shout rang out. This person's voice was like thunder, shaking the entire battlefield. Momentarily, countless gazes turned over, staring at this young man. Lei Yin at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. His offense and defense are balanced, and he's extremely strong. If he challenges you, you must definitely not accept. Yi Lingshuang transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian, her words causing Qin Wentian's countenance to change slightly. Seems like this senior apprentice sister of his had the intention to pull the distance between them closer. Although he understood that Yi Lingshuang had a request, he didn't mind it. After all, no matter who it was, no one would be able to remain unmoved when their father was heavily injured. I'm Lei Yin from the Violet Thunder sect. Although I, Lei Yin, am from the Violet Thunder sect, upon seeing so many heroes appearing in the Yi Country battle arena, I, Lei Yin, would like to add to the fun. I'm prepared to invite an expert from the battle sword sect to spar with me. Lei Yin spoke in a loud voice. Instantly, the entire battlefield erupted into an uproar as the sounds of mountains and seas filled the air, completely drowning the entire battlefield. The competition between the 9 great sects had always been intense, but it wasn't so easy to spectate the battles between them. In the Royal Sacred Region, only the sacred battle platform could be seen, if not, it would have to depend on luck. Now that Lei Yin had issued a challenge to an expert from the battle sword sect, it naturally caused the hearts of the crowd to be filled with excitement. It was rumored that the combat prowess of those from the battle sword sect was the strongest among the 9 great sections. Today, an expert from the Violet Thunder sect had issued a challenge to an expert from the battle sword sect. Those from the battle sword sect frowned as a cold light flickered in their eyes. An expert from the Violet Thunder sect directly issued a challenge in public, forcing them to accept it. If they didn't, wouldn't they be ridiculed by others? Their battle sword sect actually didn't even dare to accept the challenge? Brother Qin, I, Lei Yin, have already experienced your eloquence. But I wonder if your combat prowess is as good as your mouth? Lei Yin turned his head and stared at Qin Wentian. As expected, Qin Wentian wanted to challenge him because the person who caused the Violet Thunder sect to lose face today was none other than Qin Wentian. The young man beside the Holy Maiden? The crowd grew increasingly excited when they saw Qin Wentian. This young man seemed to have an extraordinary relationship with the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, and was also a disciple of the Battle Sword sect. How could they not be filled with anticipation? My junior apprentice brother's cultivation base is at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, while you are at the 5th level. Aren't you ashamed of challenging me? Why don't you challenge me instead? Lu Yun had a smile that was not a smile on his face as he mocked Lei Yan. I Lei also know that my words are somewhat inappropriate. It's just that Brother Qin's mouth is simply too venomous. I Lei have no choice but to seek guidance from him. As for you, there's no rush. There will naturally be someone from my Violet Thunder sect who will challenge you. Lei Yan's words caused the crowd to be even more excited. Seems like there wouldn't be just a single battle today. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at Lei Yan as he laughed in disdain. The loser shall die. How about it? As the sound of his voice faded, many in the crowd drew in a breath of cold air. How arrogant! The loser shall die? Lei Yan provoked him and he actually used the simplest of words to reply. Such boldness caused the crowd to sigh in admiration. As expected of someone from the Battle Sword sect, the sect with the strongest individual combat prowess, Lei Yan's heart also trembled because of Qin Wentian's words. He stared at Qin Wentian's eyes only to see that they were deep and clear. That disdainful smile on his face was filled with self-confidence, as though as long as he dared to nod his head, Qin Wentian would be able to take his life. Boom! A towering might of lightning permeated the air. Lei Yan's silhouette flickered as he stepped forward, floating in the airspace above the 100 Victory battle platform. He pointed his finger at Qin Wentian. If you don't borrow any divine weapons or treasures, the loser shall die. The reason why he said that was because he was worried that Qin Wentian would play a trick on him. If Qin Wentian had a divine weapon, he would be able to instantly end his life. If he didn't borrow any divine weapons or treasures, he didn't believe that Qin Wentian would be able to defeat him. Lei Yan, if you really have the guts to accept my challenge, scram the hell out here. Lei Yan violently spoke, exuding an unexcelled aura. A lightning rock dragon could be seen coiling around his body, exuding a terrifying aura. Junior brother, his attacks are very strong. Lu Yun reminded when he saw Qin Wentian standing up. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. With a flash of light, a gigantic axe appeared in his hands as he faintly asked, "This is an ordinary weapon, should I be able to use it?" Those from the Violet Thunder sect sensed that this was indeed an ordinary weapon, hence they didn't say anything. His silhouette flickered as Qin Wentian stepped out, wielding a gigantic axe in his hands. Every step he took caused Lei Yan to feel a faint pressure bearing down on him. Gravity. Lei Yan's heart trembled. Instantly, his mandate of gravity bore down on Qin Wentian. However, Qin Wentian was already used to the extreme gravity back in the Gravity Mountain. His opponent's mandate of gravity had no way to affect him. At this moment, countless gazes were fixed on the two of them in the air. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley also placed great importance on this battle. They wanted to see how strong the person who had captured the heart of the Holy Maiden was exactly. Qin Wentian stepped out as a formless pressure gushed forth. Lei Yan's body was clad in a layer of stone armor that crackled with lightning. With such a defense, even if Lei Yan managed to land a strike, he wouldn't be able to break through it in a short period of time. The Battle Sword sect claims to have the strongest combat prowess. How laughable! Just a single battle and you're already so arrogant? Today, I shall let everyone see how laughable it is to claim to be the strongest in terms of individual combat prowess. Lei Yan dashed out as he roared in rage. Instantly, a lightning dragon materialized in the air, transforming into a resplendent dragonstone sword that pierced through the air, aiming for Qin Wentian. What a powerful attack! The eyes of the crowd flickered. Those from the Violet Thunder sect had cold smiles on their faces. This was Lei Yan's Dragonstone sword technique. Its destructive power was extremely terrifying. Each and every one of his swords were indestructible and extremely hard to destroy. Qin Wentian lifted his hands as the will of his mandate gushed forth. From the center of his brows a cold light shot out, penetrating into Lei Yan's sea of consciousness as he slashed out with his great axe. This axe strike seemed extremely ordinary, as though he was casually chopping down a tree. But at the instant the axe descended, everything in its path was destroyed. That indestructible dragonstone sword was directly cleaved into two halves. At the same time, Lei Yan's axe continued to slash forward as a beam of axe light flashed past. A crisp cracking sound rang out as Qin Wentian retracted his axe. The crowd turned their gazes onto Lei Yan only to see his body trembling as a line of blood appeared on his forehead. His body fell from the air. That axe strike was akin to chopping down a tree, directly taking Lei Yan's life. Chapter 531. Lei Yan's body slumped onto the ground, no longer breathing. Fresh blood dyed the entire arena red. A single axe strike, it was just an ordinary axe strike, yet it caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble. This axe strike didn't merely chop down a tree, but instead, it severed the life of a young expert from the Violet Thunder sect. Qin Wentian's current strength was simply too overwhelming. After experiencing the tempering of the gravity mountain, his fleshly body was nearing perfection. Every single swing of his axe was able to utilize the strength of his entire body, and in addition to the superiority of his astral energy compared to others, as well as his attainments in the aspect of strength, although it seemed like a simple axe strike, only those who fought against him would know how much strength was contained within. The hearts of those from the Violet Thunder sect trembled as they stared at the corpse on the arena. Their countenances could no longer be described with just the word ashen. Not long ago, Lei Yan declared war in front of everyone, arrogantly declaring that he wanted to let everyone see that Qin Wentian was only a braggart. He wanted everyone to see that the Battle Sword sect's individual combat prowess was nothing but a joke. These words were still ringing in their ears, but when the axe cleaved down, how could it be described as a slap in the face? If this was a slap in the faces of those from the Violet Thunder sect were all slapped swollen. The experts from the Battle Sword sect all started, but they soon understood. Senior brother Lin Shuai and the elders personally went to welcome this young man. He would naturally be extraordinary. Not long ago, they already knew that this junior brother of theirs wasn't an ordinary character. But even so, that axe strike from Qin Wentian still gave them quite a shock. Although they believed that Qin Wentian would win, they didn't expect him to win in such an arrogant manner. With a single swing of his axe he killed Lei Yan. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley couldn't help but be shocked as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. Seems like the young man the Holy Maiden liked was truly extraordinary. Sadly, his cultivation base was too low. Their Holy Maiden was someone who could concoct 5th-ranked medicinal pills, and was doted on by the Medicine Sovereign. As for the spectators of Yi, they only had a single thought in their hearts. The Battle Sword sect claimed to have the strongest individual combat prowess, and it wasn't just a lie. They were truly that monstrous. No wonder there were rumors saying that those who entered the Battle Sword sect would have a chance to join the Royal Sacred Sect. After tempering themselves in the Battle Sword sect for a few years, they would definitely be able to join the Royal Sacred Sect. But to Qin Wentian, killing Lei Yan was nothing more than an ordinary matter. Throughout these years, how many times had he been looked down upon? How many demon-level characters had died in his hands? Even he himself couldn't remember clearly. Just a mere Lei Yan, Qin Wentian didn't really place him in his heart. If it wasn't for Lei Yan specifically provoking him, he wouldn't have acted at all. But now that he was a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, he couldn't allow the reputation of the Battle Sword sect to be tarnished in his hands. Turning his gaze over, Qin Wentian stared in the direction of those from the Violet Thunder sect as he calmly spoke. Those from the Violet Thunder sect, your mouth is indeed much more powerful than your strength. As the sound of his voice faded, it was no different from pouring salt on the wounds of the Violet Thunder sect. Thinking about it, Lei Yan's heroic words before the battle, while Qin Wentian didn't say anything at all. He only said a single sentence, the loser shall die. Now that they thought back to the words spoken by Qin Wentian, how arrogant and confident were they? My cultivation base is at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper. Since those from the Violet Thunder sect love challenges so much, anyone below the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper is welcome to challenge me, including those at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper. Qin Wentian faintly spoke. This time around, as the sound of his voice faded, another wave of commotion arose in the hearts of the spectators. Junior brother Qin has gone mad. Yi Lingshuang's countenance drastically changed. Although Qin Wentian's combat prowess was extremely powerful, and she had personally witnessed the might of that axe strike, the Violet Thunder sect was still one of the 9 great sects after all. Among Yi Kongfan's group, there were a few extremely talented geniuses whose cultivation bases were at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper. They were already the cream of the crop in their respective cultivation levels, possessing terrifying combat prowess. Yet Qin Wentian actually dared to jump 2 levels to challenge them? From Yi Lingshuang's point of view, Qin Wentian's decision was simply too audacious. How impudent! The countenances of those from the Violet Thunder sect turned ashen. They were all infuriated by Qin Wentian's provocation. A cold light flickered in Yi Kongfan's eyes as he coldly spoke. I respect Brother Qin's combat prowess, but as fellow members of the 9 great sects, my junior brother Lei Yan was a guest of your battle sword sect. Even if your combat prowess was superior to his, you didn't show any mercy and directly killed him. Aren't you a little too vicious? If I, Yi Kongfan, don't give an explanation to my sect, I'm afraid I won't be able to escape punishment. How ridiculous! The members of your Violet Thunder sect are so rude and overbearing, exuding a towering killing intent. Lei Yan's arrogance is still fresh in my mind. Yi Kongfan, you are truly sinister. Lu Yun naturally wouldn't give face to Yi Kongfan. He directly exposed Yi Kongfan's words. Why don't I say the following words on your behalf? Although the disciples of my Violet Thunder sect are all at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper, in order to avenge the death of my junior brother Lei Yan, my Violet Thunder sect is willing to accept this name. Yi Kongfan's countenance changed. This was indeed what he wanted to say, but he didn't expect Lu Yun from the Battle Sword sect to speak first. Earlier when Qin Wentian killed Lei Yan with a single axe strike, Yi Kongfan already knew that it was impossible for a 5th level, Heavenly Dipper sovereign to defeat or kill Qin Wentian. They hadn't even clearly seen how strong Qin Wentian was. Only a 6th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign would be able to kill him. But an instant later, Yi Kongfan's countenance returned to normal as he smiled. That's right. Even if we lost some face, it doesn't matter. No matter what, we have to avenge this battle. If you guys want revenge, you can continue to challenge the experts of my Violet Thunder sect. After speaking, Yi Kongfan glanced at the person beside him as he spoke in a light voice. Junior Brother Tan, I'm afraid we need you to fight for our sect. Yi Kongfan, aren't your actions a little too despicable? Yi Lingshuang's countenance changed. She stared at Yi Kongfan as she continued. Tan Feng from the Violet Thunder sect. His cultivation base is at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper, and he also possesses the Flame Blood Mandate. Infusing his Mandate of Lightning, Mandate of Fire, Mandate of Blood and Mandate of Metal, his attacks are so powerful that even 7th level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns wouldn't be able to withstand it. Yet you want him to deal with a 4th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign like me? Don't you feel ashamed? Qin Wentian understood that although Yi Lingshuang's words were filled with anger, it was also a warning to Qin Wentian. She could sense Tan Feng's strength as well as the mandates he was proficient in. If Qin Wentian felt pressured, even if he rejected the battle, nobody would say anything. After all, the cultivation bases of the two of them weren't on the same level. If it wasn't for his arrogant words, I wouldn't have acted in such a manner. Yi Kongfan continued. The Battle Sword sect and the Violet Thunder sect are both part of the 9 great sections. My junior brother Lei Yan from the Violet Thunder sect died on the platform, and we have no complaints at all. But since you guys from the Battle Sword sect want to retract your words so easily, can I help Lei Yan to retract his words and punish him for killing my junior brother? Naturally, since he's a guest, if he's willing to kneel in front of my junior brother Lei Yan's corpse and apologize, I, Yi Kongfan, am willing to take responsibility for this matter. Yi Kongfan's voice was as calm as ever. His words were clearly sophistry, yet there was no way to refute it. After all, Qin Wentian was the one who spoke arrogantly first. Right now, Qin Wentian was stuck between a rock and a hard place. The hearts of the spectators mused. Hypocrite! Qin Wentian stared at Yi Kongfan. This person made use of his junior brother to act. Lei Yan had died, yet he didn't feel any sorrow. If not, how could he be so calm? Most probably in Yi Kongfan's eyes, Lei Yan was nothing more than a chess piece. And now his chess piece was changed to Tan Feng, a chess piece used to kill Qin Wentian. How could Qin Wentian not understand Yi Kongfan's feelings for Mo Qingcheng? Before this, both of them didn't shed all pretense of cordiality, and Yi Kongfan was doing his best to conceal it. Now Yi Kongfan was already itching to kill Qin Wentian. He knew that it was impossible for Qin Wentian to kneel to Lei Yan. He had to experience this battle no matter what. And from Yi Lingshuang's words, it was obvious that Tan Feng's combat prowess was extremely high, and he even had the flame blood. If you want to fight, just scram the hell out. The blood in Qin Wentian's body surged. The Violet Thunder sect was one of the 9 great sects, and the geniuses of the Violet Thunder sect were naturally extremely powerful. Although he was confident in himself, he didn't dare to be blindly arrogant. Hence, he was already prepared to activate the power of his bloodline. If Tanfeng was truly strong enough, he would unleash the full power of his primordial demonic bloodline to kill him. He actually accepted the challenge. The hearts of the spectators were filled with shock. That was a 6th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereign from the Violet Thunder sect, and it was none other than Tanfeng. Those from the Battle Sword sect had all heard of Tanfeng's name before. Tanfeng stood up. His eyes were exceptionally cold, and when one stared at him, one could sense a dangerous aura emanating from him. With a flicker of his silhouette, Tanfeng moved like a specter towards Qin Wentian. His speed was exceedingly fast, and he didn't say a single word. A violent and dangerous surge of bloodline power gushed forth from his body, causing the air around him to emit a sizzling sound. His eyes were pitch black and crimson, as though there were black-colored flames burning within them, causing the eyes of others to feel a piercing pain. Both of their mandates are at the transformation boundary. Qin Wentian could sense the strength of Tanfeng's mandates from his eyes. Tanfeng's mandates were definitely not inferior to his own. Tanfeng continued advancing soundlessly. Lifting his palms, the surrounding space was filled with a terrifying sense of danger. His palms blasted out soundlessly, blasting towards Qin Wentian with a pitch-black palm imprint imprinted with the color of lava. Qin Wentian slashed out with his axe, slamming into the palm imprint. An instant later, a thunderous boom rang out as the destructive shockwaves danced wildly in the air. That palm imprint abruptly expanded in size, shrouded in a blood-red glow as lightning crackled around it. Qin Wentian lifted his axe once again as his blood surged. Immense strength gathered in his arms as he abruptly slashed out. The palm imprint was cleaved apart, yet the destructive might of the attack didn't diminish in the slightest as it continued on its path towards Qin Wentian. Bang! With stellar transposition, Qin Wentian's silhouette vanished from sight as he reappeared in the air. That palm imprint blasted out towards the horizons. Tanfeng was only taken aback by Qin Wentian's instantaneous movement. He instantly soared up into the air and with a grab of his palm, a towering screen of light appeared in the air. The screen was clearly black in color, yet it was as though it contained a blood-red glow that enveloped the entire sky. The Great Destruction Palm Imprint. Senior Tanfeng is getting stronger and stronger. The experts from the Violet Thunder sect all had their eyes gleaming with sharpness. They were very clear of Tanfeng's strength. Even ordinary 7th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns would die in his hands, let alone a 4th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereign like Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian roared as an astral nova appeared in the air. It was none other than his astral soul, the Heavenly Hammer. Instantly a terrifying light shone from it. With the Heavenly Hammer in his hands, he actually stepped towards the center of the Great Destruction Palm Imprint. Brandishing the Heavenly Hammer, he blasted out with all his strength. Bang! The towering waves of destructive energy gushed forth in a frenzy. As the astral nova smashed down, the Great Destruction Palm Imprint was actually still there. From this, one could see how tyrannical this technique was. Seeing that the destructive energy was about to engulf him, Qin Wentian executed stellar transposition once more, and at the instant the Great Destruction Palm Imprint was destroyed, Qin Wentian stood at an even higher altitude. As expected, I mustn't underestimate the geniuses of the various great sections. The innate techniques and techniques of the Violet Thunder sect must be extremely powerful as well. Just the destructive power of that palm imprint alone is extremely terrifying. Qin Wentian sighed in his heart. Tanfeng should be one of the more powerful characters in the Violet Thunder sect. Yi Kongfan's eyes flashed with a cold smile. He was very clear of Tanfeng's strength. If the two of them were suppressed to the same level, he wouldn't be much stronger than Tanfeng. Tanfeng's usage of the will of mandates was extremely terrifying, and he could infuse them into innate techniques to unleash an overwhelming might. Chapter 532. Tanfeng inclined his head, staring at Qin Wentian in the air. This type of instantaneous teleportation technique was truly powerful. In that instant, Qin Wentian's speed was so fast that even his perception couldn't catch up to him. Do you only know how to flee? Tanfeng coldly spoke. The blood in his body surged as a scorching heat circulated around him. The crimson-black glow radiating from him gave off a feeling of extreme danger. At this moment, Tanfeng was extremely depressed. He was proficient in offense, and given Qin Wentian's incredible evasion abilities, if he had a control-type astral soul, he would be able to restrict Qin Wentian more effectively before killing him. However, it was impossible for stellar martial cultivators to be perfect. Unless they reached the heavens and earth realm, they would be able to condense 6 or even 8 astral souls. Flee! Qin Wentian stared at Tanfeng. You aren't the only one who possesses the power of a bloodline. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, a towering bloodline glow radiated from him as a fearsome demonic qi permeated the air. The center of Qin Wentian's brows glowed with a terrifying light as his entire person became extremely demonic. That pair of demonic eyes of his caused people to feel a deep sense of reverence. This was the aura of a sovereign descending from the heavens. Let me see how strong a genius at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper from the Violet Thunder sect is. A long spear appeared in Qin Wentian's hands as a terrifying light circulated around it. Tanfeng stared at Qin Wentian in the air, feeling an intense sense of threat. Stretching out both his palms, Tanfeng's entire body and palms turned golden in color. The golden light enveloped his body, causing his defense to become even more tyrannical, while at the same time exuding a fearsome sharpness. His entire person was clad in a layer of golden armor, after which, his palms shone with crimson and black light once again, exuding a baleful aura. Busy! Qin Wentian's silhouette dashed downwards, exuding a terrifying might. His body glowed with a resplendent light, causing people to revere him. His long spear pierced through the air soundlessly, surpassing the speed of sound as it shot towards Tanfeng. This spear strike was so calm, yet it caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble. Great Destruction Palm Imprint. Tanfeng lifted his left palm and blasted out. A gigantic palm imprint directly blocked the path of the long spear. Crisp sounds rang out as the long spear landed on the palm imprint of the Great Destruction palm, causing cracks to appear on it. After which the palm imprint crumbled apart, causing an extremely dangerous current to circulate in the air. Tanfeng's palm didn't stop. He knew that even the Great Destruction palm imprint wouldn't be able to block his opponent's spear. A blood-red imprint appeared on his palm as a terrifying blood-red rune appeared. Poochie sounds rang out as the blood-red palm imprint actually managed to block the attack of the spear. Tanfeng could feel the blood-red imprint being continuously stripped away and destroyed, while his arm was filled with a terrifying force. However, he didn't care. His right palm slashed out, grabbing towards Qin Wentian. Streams of towering sword qi gushed forth. Qin Wentian abruptly flicked out with his left hand. Numerous terrifying swords danced in the air as they collided against Tanfeng's palm. The two of them instantly separated from each other. Qin Wentian felt a wave of destructive black-colored energy gushing into his arm, corroding it. That was the power of the Blood Flame Mandate infused into the Blood Flame Mandate. It was extremely corrosive and destructive. But how could Tanfeng not feel the same? His arm was trembling slightly, evidently feeling extremely uncomfortable. Tanfeng's strength was clearly much stronger compared to the 6th level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns Qin Wentian had met before. This was especially so in terms of attack. Devour! Tanfeng's eyes were ice cold. As the sound of his voice faded, a black-colored energy gushed forth from his body, enveloping Qin Wentian. Not good. The countenances of those from the Battle Sword sect drastically changed. They could all feel the destructive might contained within this energy. This kind of energy could directly corrode and destroy a person. However, to their surprise, Qin Wentian didn't retreat. In the center of his brows, a third eye opened as a terrifying will of mandates gushed into Tanfeng's sea of consciousness. Intrusive dream. Qin Wentian roared. Tanfeng instantly closed his eyes and bit his lips, forcing himself to stay awake. At the same time he flicked his finger as a black-colored python manifested, lunging towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's entire body was enveloped by that dangerous energy. There was no way for him to escape. Roar! A terrifying roar rang out as a terrifying demonic beast appeared behind Qin Wentian. This demonic beast was incomparably gigantic. It was none other than a demon emperor. It directly appeared behind Qin Wentian, grabbing Qin Wentian in its arms as they dashed forwards. The corrosive energy blasted onto the body of the demon emperor. However, this was Qin Wentian's astral nova, it had no life. At the same instant, Tan Feng released his astral novas. 4 astral novas erupted forth at the same time. A flame devil, a blood python, a lightning giant, and a golden sword. Die! Tan Feng's eyes were tightly shut as he lifted his hands once more, grabbing towards the demon sovereign. Resplendent currents of lightning and fire erupted forth, wanting to destroy this entire space, not allowing Qin Wentian to get close to him. Qin Wentian slammed out with his palms. The King Astral Sword pierced through everything as a supreme sword might gushed forth, slashing downwards. The humming sound of the sword resonated in the air, lacerating everything in its path. Qin Wentian stepped out, directly stepping on the King Astral Sword as sword chi gushed forth. Tan Feng's silhouette flickered as he frenziedly blasted out with his palms. Violent currents of chi flooded the entire space. Yet Qin Wentian continued stepping downwards. His killing intent was so cold that it felt as though it could tear everything apart. The golden sword collided with the black-colored King Astral Sword, only to see Qin Wentian stepping down once more. A crisp cracking sound rang out as cracks actually appeared on the golden sword. Tan Feng groaned in agony as his countenance turned pale. Qin Wentian's astral nova was actually stronger than his. One must know that his cultivation base was higher compared to Qin Wentian, and his astral nova should be more perfect. Qin Wentian stomped down once more, causing the cracks to widen. The boundless sword chi directly penetrated into Tan Feng's body as his bloodline power surged frenziedly, releasing his astral souls. Under the might of this sword intent, he would be destroyed sooner or later. VZ. The golden sword was retracted as the lightning giant and flame devil frenziedly attacked. The blood python fought against the demon sovereign, while Tan Feng disregarded everything else and rushed towards Qin Wentian. His palms blasted out in a frenzy as the fusion of the 2 astral novas contained an intent of destruction, capable of destroying everything. Die! The 7 annihilation swordplay completely erupted. Tan Feng groaned in agony as traces of blood could be seen at the corners of his lips. All the attacks he had blasted out were instantly destroyed. The destructive sword chi ravaged his body, causing a deep sense of terror to appear in his eyes. Scram! The sharp sword slammed towards Tan Feng's astral nova. Qin Wentian brandished his long spear, transforming into a beam of light as he pierced through the air once more. In that instant, Tan Feng's mind was completely submerged. After which, a light sound rang out as Qin Wentian's long spear pierced right through the center of his brows. The destructive energy in the air gradually dissipated as the astral novas returned to their original positions. The spectators stared at the airspace above the battle arena, only to see Qin Wentian standing arrogantly in the air. His long spear had pierced right through the center of Tan Feng's brows. Qin Wentian, who was only at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, actually managed to kill Tan Feng, a genius from the Violet Thunder sect who was at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper. Such a battle achievement caused the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Qin Wentian pulled his long spear out as Tan Feng's body fell from the air. A Heaven's Chosen had fallen in the battle arena of the Yi country. Those from the Violet Thunder sect all stood up as their countenances turned ashen. Never in their wildest dreams would they have imagined that the final result would be like this. Qin Wentian was actually so powerful that he could kill Tan Feng. Such combat prowess is truly powerful. Those from the Battle Sword sect were both shocked and gratified. These 2 battles were undoubtedly a declaration of the strength of their Battle Sword sect, trampling on the faces of those from the Violet Thunder sect to prove themselves. What other reasons do you have? Qin Wentian pointed his long spear at Yi Kongfan, consecutively killing 2 people, including Tan Feng, who was at the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper. How could Yi Kongfan still be so righteous? Yi Kongfan's countenance turned ashen. Most probably, he would have to report to his master about Tan Feng's death. What made him even more infuriated was that in front of so many people, Tan Feng died in the hands of a disciple from the Battle Sword sect. Not only that, they were the ones who provoked him first. Not only that, this disciple of the Battle Sword sect was also someone Mo Qingcheng liked. His eyes flashed with an intense killing intent. If it was possible, he wanted to personally kill Qin Wentian. However, He understood that those from the battle sword sect would never allow such a thing to happen. Hence, he could only hide his killing intent in his heart. Qin Wentian could naturally sense the killing intent in the hearts of those from the Violet Thunder sect. He coldly laughed as he continued, "Stop challenging those from my battle sword sect. You guys are truly not worthy." After speaking, Qin Wentian kept his long spear as his silhouette flickered, flying towards the spectator stands. When he arrived, a few from the Violet Thunder sect stepped out, exuding an intense killing intent. However, those from the battle sword sect all had cold glints in their eyes. Standing up, Duan Han icily spoke, "You guys can't win a challenge and want to shed all pretense of cordiality? The Violet Thunder sect has truly broadened my horizons." "How can that be? It's just that the deaths of our fellow apprentice brothers caused us to feel anger in our hearts," Yi Kongfan emotionlessly replied. He waved his hands as the spectators all retreated. Qin Wentian continued walking, as though there was no one else here. He walked to the side of Mo Qingqing as he spoke in a low voice, "Qingqing, although the battle in the arena is extremely fascinating, there are some people here who spoil the mood. Let's leave." "Right." Mo Qingqing naturally listened to Qin Wentian. She stood up and walked side by side with Qin Wentian, causing the hearts of countless in the arena to tremble. The Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley seemed to have an extraordinary relationship with this disciple from the Battle Sword sect. The disciples from the Battle Sword sect all laughed coldly as they glanced at those from the Violet Thunder sect. The experts from the Medicine Sovereign Valley naturally followed behind Mo Qingqing. Very swiftly, only Yi Kongfan and his group remained here. Today they wanted to show off their strength. Yet the ending was the exact opposite. They lost all their face in front of so many people, and they were incomparably embarrassed. "Kongfan, if I don't avenge this debt, I'm not a human." A young man from the Violet Thunder sect coldly spoke as his killing intent gushed forth. Yi Kongfan clenched his fists tightly as a cold light flickered in his eyes. A towering killing intent surged in his heart. The person who lost the most face today was none other than him, the Master. Chapter 533. Within the Human Emperor Hall of the Royal Palace, the Human Emperor was lying on his dragon bed in a luxurious chamber. The Human Emperor of Yi, although he was quietly lying there, exuded a sense of majesty. His black hair had a few strands of silver mixed within, making him extremely conspicuous. His eyes were opened, revealing traces of fatigue. However, that majestic countenance of his had a faint smile on it as he stared at the beautiful maiden beside him. He knew that this woman was none other than the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi had some friendship with the Medicine Sovereign Valley in the past, the Medicine Sovereign Valley wouldn't have sent their Holy Maiden here personally. Very few people in the outside world knew of the strength of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. They wouldn't interfere with external affairs, but because they were proficient in pill concoction, no one dared to offend them. However, what made the Human Emperor taken aback was that the person standing beside the Holy Maiden was actually a young man. This young man was extraordinarily handsome and stood out from the crowd. As the Human Emperor of Yi, he had seen countless people in his life, and he could faintly sense that this young man in front of him was no ordinary person. Standing in the majestic chamber of the Human Emperor, Qin Wentian's heart was as calm as still water, even looking at him as though he was an ordinary injured person. Even though he was heavily injured, he was still as imposing as ever. A single glance from him could cause the hearts of juniors to tremble in fear. "Royal Father, this is Qin Wentian, a junior brother of mine who just joined the sect." On the first day he stepped into the Battle Sword sect, he comprehended 14 sword strikes in front of the grass hut, breaking the record of the 7th and 14th sword strikes consecutively. Many elders wanted to take him as a disciple, and even the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness personally invited him, only to be rejected by junior brother Qin. Yi Lingshuang sat on the bed as she smiled at her father. The Human Emperor nodded. He naturally knew about the legend of the Battle Sword sect's grass hut. That old witch, the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness, is extremely arrogant. Little brother Qin actually rejected her invitation to take him as a disciple in front of so many people. The younger generations will surpass us in time. Emperor Yi laughed, his words causing those from the Battle Sword sect to be astonished. Only the human emperor of ancient countries or the clan leaders of the major clans would dare to refer to the Plum Mountain sword sovereignness as an old witch. Junior brother Qin and the Holy Maiden are truly a match made in heaven. Yi Lingshuang held onto the human emperor's hand as she smiled. Although her heart was filled with sorrow, Yi Lingshuang still had a radiant smile in front of the human emperor. The human emperor didn't find it strange. In fact, when the Holy Maiden came in for the second time to diagnose him and saw how intimate the two of them were, Yi Lingshuang's first sentence allowed him to guess the relationship between the two of them. Most probably, the Holy Maiden took into consideration that Qin Wentian was the junior apprentice brother of his daughter, Yi Lingshuang, which was why she was willing to diagnose him again. It is indeed a match made in heaven. The human emperor laughed. He wasn't trying to flatter Qin Wentian. What sort of character was he? The human emperor of Yi country. He could dominate the world unhindered. Even if he had to face a life and death situation, he wouldn't go so far as to flatter others. It was just that when he stared at this couple before him, he couldn't help but think back to when he was young. Bai Yu, do you still remember the 7-colored phoenix feather robe? The human emperor glanced at a beautiful lady beside him. This was none other than his wife, the empress of Yi country. I still remember. Back then when the two of us roamed the supreme demon mountain range, we slayed a Yafeng and obtained its wings to forge a divine weapon. The empress of Yi smiled. Give it to the Holy Maiden as a congratulatory gift for their wedding in the future. How about it? The human emperor spoke to the empress. Senior human emperor. Qin Wentian felt some shock in his heart. Just when he wanted to reject, the human emperor continued. Although I'm in dire straits, I still have many treasures. This divine weapon isn't for you but for your future wife. How can you reject it? Qin Wentian's eyes flickered before he nodded his head. In that case, many thanks to senior human emperor. He wasn't a pretentious person. Since the human emperor said so, he could only accept it. Emo Qingqing's beautiful eyes flickered. Seeing that Qin Wentian had agreed, she didn't say anything else. An instant later, the empress walked over with a brocade box in her hands. Within it, there was a dazzling 7-colored divine robe. The robe shimmered with astral light, yet it was so thin that it seemed to be translucent. This divine weapon was forged by the human emperor in the past, and was given to the empress as a token of love. After that, the human emperor and the empress got married. The meaning behind this gift is extraordinary. One of the human emperor's concubines smiled. Evidently, the human emperor hoped that this pair of youths would become a pair in the future. Emo Qingqing glanced at Qin Wentian beside her, as a hint of sweetness could be seen in her eyes. She received the treasure and spoke with gratitude. Many thanks to the human emperor and empress. Haha, you came all the way here to treat a dying man like me. Little brother is also the junior apprentice brother of Lingshuang. With such fate, what does a mere gift count for? The human emperor casually laughed. However, his voice was filled with a faint sense of weakness, as though he was out of breath. The poison he was afflicted with is a blood poison. At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened as he turned his head. Staring at Mu Feng as he asked, Mu Feng, do you know of this poison? The concealment ability of the blood poison is the strongest, but once it's activated, its toxicity is also the most terrifying. It hides within the blood vessels, and once it's activated, the blood vessels will circulate throughout the entire body, causing every part of the body to be tainted with this poison. There's no cure, and it's extremely difficult to use medicinal pills or medicinal herbs to cure it. Unless it's a supreme-grade medicinal pill, it would be able to transform one's blood vessels, and at the same time imbue it with healing properties. Every drop of blood is a medicinal pill, and after it's activated, it would circulate throughout the entire body, cleansing the body of the poison. Mu Feng explained. Emo Qingqing's heart trembled. She knew that the human emperor's poison had already spread throughout his entire body. However, she wasn't proficient in poison, and didn't know that this was caused by the blood poison. The people in the ancient hall all stared at Mu Feng. They didn't expect this person to be proficient in poison. He's my friend Mu Feng. His master is known as the Poison King, and I'm sure he's extremely proficient in poison. Qin Wentian introduced. Qingqing, do you have such a medicinal pill? There's indeed a medicinal pill that can cleanse the poison in one's blood. However, since this poison was able to harm the human emperor, it should be extremely tyrannical. Only a 5th-rank medicinal pill would be able to cleanse it. However, this medicinal pill is too rare, I've never heard of it before. I wonder if Master knows of it, Emo Qingcheng whispered. Emo Qingcheng spoke in a low voice. The human emperor laughed. What a ruthless method. Since they poisoned me, how could they allow me to recover so easily? At this moment, Mu Feng's gaze shifted onto Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows as a bright light flashed in his mind. He suddenly understood the meaning behind Mu Feng's gaze. Back then, he was poisoned by Mu Feng, but he managed to heal himself. It seemed like Mu Feng still remembered this scene. Since Qin Wentian was able to heal himself, it meant that there must be something extraordinary about his body. Qin Wentian closed his eyes, quietly comprehending the second type of bloodline power within his body. Back then, it was precisely this bloodline power that helped him expel all the poison in his body, making him impervious to all poisons. Holy Maiden, is there really no way to find such a medicinal pill? Yi Lingshuang stared at Emo Qingcheng, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. However, Emo Qingcheng shook her head. I really have no idea. It's unheard of for one's bloodline to possess a healing ability. Even some of the elders in the Medicine Sovereign Valley might not be able to do so. Also, the human emperor has already experienced a great battle, and the poison has already spread to all parts of his body. Other than this method, there's no other way to cure him. No wonder they spared no expense to force me to fight. Seems like this is heaven's will. Now the only thing I'm worried about is you guys. After I die, they will definitely not spare you. The human emperor stared at his wife and children. Royal father. Yi Lingshuang's eyes were slightly moist. She couldn't suppress the sadness in her heart. The human emperor of a generation was at the end of his life. Who could read the eyes of the human emperor? He only wished for the safety of his family. There's still hope. Qin Wentian opened his eyes, causing the gazes of everyone to turn to him. Senior human emperor, you can rest in peace. As for the matter of recovery, we will discuss it when we return. Qin Wentian didn't say anything more. The implications of the human emperor's injuries were too great. If others knew that there was a possibility to cure him, there would definitely be people who would take the risk. That would be disadvantageous to them. Hence, even if they could cure the human emperor, they had to be incomparably cautious. A bright light flashed in the eyes of the human emperor. He stared deeply at Qin Wentian as he spoke. Fine, as long as I'm not dead, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Even if I die, I will make them wait patiently. I really want to see who would dare to overturn the heavens in the Yi country if this emperor doesn't close my eyes. An expression of admiration appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Even at the brink of death, the human emperor was still so tyrannical. As long as he wasn't dead, there wouldn't be anyone who would dare to launch a coup d'état. Such a ruthless hegemon, even when he was on the verge of death, still possessed such terrifying might. One could very well imagine how awe-inspiring he was back then. Qin Wentian and the rest bid their farewells and returned to the Medicine Sovereign Palace prepared for those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. The people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley frowned when they saw Qin Wentian and Emo Qingcheng walking side by side towards the direction of Emo Qingcheng's sleeping quarters. As the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, Emo Qingcheng's status was extraordinary. Each and every one of her actions represented the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Holy Maiden. Upon thinking of this, someone called out to Emo Qingcheng and Qin Wentian. Emo Qingcheng turned her head and asked, "What's the matter?" The sleeping quarters of the Holy Maiden are not to be entered by outsiders. One of the maidens stared at Qin Wentian as she coldly spoke. Impudent. Emo Qingcheng coldly snorted when she saw that the maidens were targeting Qin Wentian. Her words caused the countenance of the maidens to change as she bowed. Holy Maiden, this concerns your reputation. In any case, this place is the royal palace of the Yi country. There's no way you can hide this from the eyes and ears of others. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. The words of the maidens weren't without reason. If Emo Qingcheng's reputation was damaged, he naturally wouldn't be willing to do so. However, Emo Qingcheng held onto his hand as she turned her head to look at him with a radiant smile on her face. Maybe, only when facing him, would Emo Qingcheng reveal such a smile. Let me tell all of you right now, I'm his wife. Mo Qingcheng spoke to the maidens. After which, she pulled Qin Wentian along as she continued, without my command, no one is to disturb us. The countenances of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley froze. All of them were speechless. The feelings the holy maiden had for Qin Wentian had already surpassed everything. It was more important than her status as the holy maiden, more important than her reputation, and even more important than the Medicine Sovereign Valley. This was something they couldn't accept. No one is to divulge any information regarding this matter. One of the maidens coldly stated, seal this entire space. Chapter 534. Qin Wentian followed Mo Qingcheng into her bedroom, feeling a faint warmth in his heart. They had reunited after such a long time and their fates were unknown. After Mo Qingcheng lost her memories, she was able to remember him with just a single glance. How could Qin Wentian not feel such deep emotions? The two of them sat in front of the warm jade bed. Mo Qingcheng leaned against Qin Wentian's chest. The two of them didn't say anything. They were only enjoying this rare moment of warmth. Ever since Mo Qingcheng was brought away by Luo He from Chu, they had never been able to be together in such a peaceful and carefree manner. Qin Wentian hugged the alluring figure of Mo Qingcheng. Mo Qingcheng inclined her head slightly as she smiled sweetly at him. Dumbo? It has been so many years, why are you still a Dumbo? Qin Wentian pinched Mo Qingcheng's nose as he thought back to the time when they were young. Warmth flowed through his heart. How simple and honest they were back then. Dumbo, Dumbo. Mo Qingcheng giggled. Staring at that flawless countenance, Qin Wentian couldn't help but be a little dazed. Upon seeing the look in Qin Wentian's eyes, Mo Qingcheng's cheeks flushed red, causing her beauty to intensify, causing the hearts of those who looked at her to palpitate. She was too beautiful, enough to cause everyone in the world to suffocate. What are you looking at? Mo Qingcheng couldn't stand the look in Qin Wentian's eyes. She shyly dived into his embrace. Qin Wentian laughed carefreely, hugging Mo Qingcheng just like that, enjoying the fragrance of the woman he loved deeply. His eyes grew misty. After so many years he had never felt so relaxed before. Maybe only when he was together with Qingcheng would he be able to let go of everything in his heart. She was the harbor of his soul. Qingcheng, there's a surge of energy in my body that can expel poison. It's like a bloodline energy. Can I guide it into the human emperor's body and fuse it with his bloodline, allowing the human emperor's bloodline to have a healing ability? Qin Wentian couldn't help but ask when he thought of the human emperor. Mo Qingcheng came out from Qin Wentian's embrace. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as she asked, Wentian, are you sure that this bloodline is able to expel all poisons? If you want to infuse your power into the human emperor's body, you need to fuse your blood, which may lead to the poison invading your blood. I won't allow you to suffer any harm. There should be no problem. Qin Wentian told Mo Qingcheng about how he was poisoned back then, causing a look of contemplation to appear on Mo Qingcheng's face. An instant later she replied, if there really is such a bloodline ability, as long as we supplement it with a few types of medicinal pills, we should be able to achieve the desired effect. If it really has the effect of expelling the poison, as long as the human emperor recuperates for a period of time and uses medicinal pills to recuperate, he should be able to recover. After all, the most serious injury the human emperor suffers from is poison. If it's possible, I hope to be able to cure the human emperor. A look of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. The personality of the human emperor was truly worthy of respect. Not only that, the human emperor was Yi Lingshuang's father. In addition to Yi Kongfan's hatred for him, no matter how one looked at it, Qin Wentian should cure the human emperor and rebuild the Yi country. Such a powerful ancient country couldn't be compared to mortal countries. Usually, the strongest among them would be able to decide everything. The human emperor alone could dominate an entire country. Right now, even though the human emperor was on the brink of death and the Qi King and the others had the advantage, they still didn't dare to kill everyone. This was because they were afraid of the human emperor's might. They were worried that the human emperor would give up his life in a fit of rage. Hence, to them, they would rather slowly exhaust the human emperor to death. After all, the injuries of the human emperor would only worsen. In that case, I need to see the strength of your bloodline first. If not, I won't be at ease. Emo Qingqing's limpid eyes stared at Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to laugh. What do you want me to do? Emo Qingqing didn't reply. She only stared at him with deep emotions, as though wanting to melt his heart. Staring at that countenance of hers, Qin Wentian's heart pounded violently. To be alone with such an empire-toppling beauty, it truly caused his heart to be stirred. Dumbo. Emo Qingqing bit her lips as a blush appeared on her cheeks. Qin Wentian sighed. Qingqing, in this life with you as my wife, what more can I ask for? After speaking, Qin Wentian also let go of the fetters in his heart. She loved him deeply and he loved her deeply as well. She had already told others, disregarding everything else, that she was his wife. He also firmly believed that he would be able to take care of this young lady in front of him forever. Emo Qingqing. She would forever be the pure and innocent young lady in Qin Wentian's heart. 10 years with a single glance, their love was determined for this life. On the road to the ends of the earth, life and death together. There was no such thing as love in the world. A distance of 100,000 miles makes it hard for them to meet again. Life and death are hard to separate. A beauty is still faintly discernible. In the depths of love, how could one restrain oneself? 3 days later, in a palace, Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely gloomy. He no longer had that carefree demeanor. In front of him, 2 people came to report some news. During these 3 days, the people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley had locked down the sleeping chambers they were staying in. But after all, they were in the depths of the royal palace. How could they hide anything from him? For a total of 3 days, Qin Wentian and Emo Qingqing were both alone in the sleeping chambers. Every time he thought of this, Yi Kongfan's heart would turn cold as his killing intent gushed forth. Back then, when the people from the human emperor's bloodline went to invite the people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley over, Yi Kongfan also felt an intense enmity towards them. But the instant he saw Emo Qingqing, all the enmity vanished. He wanted to subdue this pure and holy woman. He wanted to obtain Emo Qingqing and make her his woman. Yi Kongfan had always been extraordinary. He was the son of the Qi king of Yi country, possessing the heavenly lightning physique, calamity lightning bloodline, and was a chosen of the Violet Thunder sect. He believed that he was the chosen of the heavens, and that the ancient Yi country would be under his control in the future. Emo Qingqing, as the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, had a countenance so beautiful that it could topple empires. The moment she appeared, Yi Kongfan felt that this was a woman bestowed to him by the heavens. Yi Kongfan was truly extraordinary. He had already dispelled all hostility he had towards the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Even though they were here to help his enemies, he still treated them with respect and treated them with utmost respect. This was all for the sake of their beauty. However, Emo Qingqing didn't mince words when she spoke to him. She was as cold and aloof as a winter plum blossom, pure and holy. Yet this only made Yi Kongfan's desire to subdue her even stronger. This was the type of woman he wanted to obtain, cold and pure. If he could subdue her, he would definitely become the envy of countless people. Hence he wasn't anxious at all. However, the appearance of Qin Wentian shattered Yi Kongfan's fantasies. That holy and aloof maiden only glanced at Qin Wentian once before she threw herself into his embrace, tears streaming down her face like rain. She was completely immersed in love. How could there be any trace of her holy and aloof demeanor left? But even so, Yi Kongfan still held on to a glimmer of hope. Yi Kongfan was a chosen of the heavens. How could he lose to a disciple of the Battle Sword sect? But now this glimmer of hope was completely shattered. Every time he thought of the 2 of them staying in their chambers for the past 3 days, Yi Kongfan's heart would burn with jealousy. Slut, I still thought you were so pure and holy. Yi Kongfan slammed his palms onto the chair beside him, directly shattering it. When he thought of that beautiful face that could topple empires, enjoying the pleasures of Qin Wentian, his countenance turned malevolent. Slut, I will make you regret this. Yi Kongfan icily spoke. I want her to lose all of her reputation. I don't need to teach you what to do, right? Yes, Crown Prince. The people in front of him bowed slightly. Staring at the sinister look in Yi Kongfan's eyes, they felt a wave of fear. That gaze was too terrifying, like a blazing inferno. It seemed like this heaven's chosen had suffered a heavy blow this time around. What are you all still waiting for? Yi Kongfan swept his gaze over to them. Momentarily, the few of them bowed and retreated, leaving the Great Hall. In the residence of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley, the mood of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley was extremely bad these few days. Today, Lin Yu requested permission to enter Imo Qingqing's chambers. However, when she entered, she only saw Imo Qingqing and Qin Wentian in the midst of concocting medicinal pills. Her countenance involuntarily froze. The current Imo Qingqing was even more charming, exuding a sense of nobility and elegance, causing others to not dare to stare at her directly. However, when she was facing Qin Wentian, that alluring expression on her face caused even Lin Yu, who was a female, to be stunned by her beauty. The Holy Maiden originally had a countenance that could topple empires. Her demeanor was elegant, and she also had an exquisite heart. There seemed to be a halo around her, and now, other than that pure and holy aura, she exuded an additional sense of femininity, causing people to feel as though they were bewitched just by looking at her. Most probably, no man in the world would be able to resist the charm of the Holy Maiden. Lin Yu silently mused. What's the matter? Imo Qingqing turned her head and stared at Lin Yu, regaining her elegance and nobility, causing others to not dare to profane her. Nothing much, it's just that Master ordered me to come here to see if anything happened to the Holy Maiden. Why didn't you leave the chambers for the past 3 days? Lin Yu respectfully asked. Do I need to tell you what I'm doing? If your master is unhappy, just tell her to return to the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Imo Qingqing's voice contained traces of coldness, causing Lin Yu's heart to tremble. After which, she bowed and replied, Master is also worried about the Holy Maiden. Lin Yu will take her leave now. After speaking, she retreated from the chambers. Qin Wentian stared at Imo Qingqing, feeling that it was extremely funny. This caused Imo Qingqing to glare at him. What are you laughing at? My Qingqing actually has such a majestic side to her. Qin Wentian joked, yet he was sighing in his heart. Imo Qingqing told him that she had no idea who sent her to the Medicine Sovereign Valley. After that, the Medicine Sovereign personally treated her injuries, guided her, and even bestowed her the title of Holy Maiden. Imo Qingqing's status was so high, there would naturally be pressure as well. Not only that, the Medicine Sovereign Valley was also a transcendent power. How could there not be competition? As the Holy Maiden, how could Imo Qingqing not have her own prestige? You don't like it? Imo Qingqing's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian, as though she was worried that he wouldn't like it. How can that be? No matter what you do, I like it. Qin Wentian laughed. Just by hearing the sweet words exchanged between the two of them, he could tell that their relationship had grown closer. Imo Qingqing retracted her hands and quietly rested them on Qin Wentian's shoulders. If the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was seen by others, it was unknown how many people would be envious of her. The medicinal pills we prepared are almost done. However, if we want to treat the human emperor's injuries, we have to do it secretly. If not, if we arouse their suspicions, they might take the risk. Imo Qingqing spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. He had naturally thought of this point as well. Only the two of us know about this matter. Don't tell anyone else from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. We will just say that we went to visit the human emperor to check on his injuries like usual. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. He already had an idea in his heart. If they were to publicly announce that they were treating the human emperor, given the Qi King's current control over the royal palace, it would be impossible to hide this from the Qi King's eyes. Chapter 535. Today, Qin Wentian and Imo Qingqing finally walked out of their chambers. Both of them were in high spirits, and as the sunlight cascaded down on them, Imo Qingqing closed her eyes and drew in a deep breath. She then opened her arms, as though wanting to embrace the sunlight. It's so good to have you around. Imo Qingqing's countenance flickered with the glow of happiness. These few days she was always together with Qin Wentian, occasionally concocting pills. The feeling she had was so surreal. If she could live like this for the rest of her life, she would have nothing more to ask for. Qin Wentian turned his head, seeing the sunlight cascading down on Imo Qingqing's flawless countenance. The smile on his face grew even more radiant. Such a wife was something countless men yearned for even in their dreams. Qingqing, you are the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. One day, I will hold the grandest wedding for you in the royal sacred region, letting everyone in the world know that you are my wife. Qin Wentian silently vowed in his heart. And Mo Qingcheng disregarded her reputation to be together with him, completely giving herself to him. He, Qin Wentian, was a man of character. How could he let Qingcheng down? How could he not give Mo Qingcheng a proper status? Although he knew that Mo Qingcheng didn't care about her reputation, he did. He wanted Mo Qingcheng to marry him in a grand fashion, letting everyone in the world know that the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley had found a good husband. Let's go. Qin Wentian held onto Mo Qingcheng's hand. Mo Qingcheng stared at him as a sweet smile appeared on her face, nodding her head as she walked out. The people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley stood guard in every corner of the grand hall. Upon seeing the two of them walking out, they couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. The Holy Maiden and Qin Wentian had been cooped up together for 4 days straight. From this, one could tell how much the Holy Maiden loved the young man in front of her. She didn't care about what the outside world thought of her, nor did she care about her reputation. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley understood that even the Medicine Sovereign wouldn't be able to stop them from being together. But of course, given how much the Medicine Sovereign doted on the Holy Maiden, how could he stop them? Back then there was someone who disrespected Mo Qingcheng, the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, saying that she wanted to replace Mo Qingcheng. Not only that, the status of that maiden in the Medicine Sovereign Valley was exceedingly high, and her talent was also outstanding. However, the Medicine Sovereign personally interfered in this matter, saying that the maiden had offended her superiors. Hence, the Medicine Sovereign crippled her cultivation base and expelled her from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. After this incident, no one in the Medicine Sovereign Valley dared to provoke Mo Qingcheng again. Even if they were unhappy, they wouldn't openly clash with Mo Qingcheng. Saintus. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley all bowed when they saw Mo Qingcheng. Mo Qingcheng faintly stated, "I'm going to check on the injuries of the human emperor. You guys come with me." Right. The maidens nodded as they followed Mo Qingcheng to pay a visit to the human emperor. Outside the chambers of the human emperor, there were still many experts present. There were even armored soldiers standing guard. The atmosphere was extremely tight. The Empress, Crown Prince and Yi Lingshuang personally came out to welcome Mo Qingcheng when they heard that she wanted to pay a visit. Within the chambers of the human emperor, there were only those close to the human emperor. I've concocted a few medicinal pills, hoping that they would be able to alleviate the injuries of the human emperor. At the same time, I also need to feed the medicinal pills to the human emperor. I'll need some time, so please wait outside and don't disturb me. Mo Qingcheng calmly stated. Other than her and Qin Wentian, no one else knew what she wanted to do. Right. The Empress smiled and nodded her head. In that case, I'll have to trouble the Holy Maiden. Mo Qingcheng was still as calm as ever. She casually nodded her head, not revealing the slightest hint of abnormality. In fact, she didn't even instruct the guards to seal off the chambers of the human emperor. Senior human emperor, after this we might be a little disrespectful and do things that are out of line with etiquette. We hope that senior human emperor can forgive us and keep this a secret. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice to the human emperor. Only the human emperor could hear it. The eyes of the human emperor flickered as an intense glint of sharpness flashed past. After which, he blinked his eyes, indicating that he had heard it. As the human emperor, how many storms had he not experienced before? He naturally wouldn't make a big fuss about it. However, seeing how solemn Qin Wentian was, maybe, senior human emperor, please consume this medicinal pill. Mo Qingcheng placed a medicinal pill into the human emperor's mouth. The human emperor opened his mouth and swallowed it. At this moment, the empress and the others departed. She turned her head back and glanced at the human emperor. There was nothing to worry about. The Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley wouldn't collude with the Qi King to harm the human emperor. Outside the chambers of the human emperor's chambers, everyone was quietly waiting. The empress glanced at Yi Lingshuang as she smiled. Lingshuang, this junior brother of yours is an extraordinary character. He is indeed extraordinary. Yi Lingshuang nodded. She carefully thought about everything regarding Qin Wentian. Indeed, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that Qin Wentian was extraordinary. Just the fact that an elder of the Battle Sword sect, as well as her senior brother Lin Shuai, had personally entered the sect from Shen King City and comprehended 14 sword strikes at the same time was sufficient to cause people to feel that something was amiss. Not only that, being able to cause a girl like the Holy Maiden to fall head over heels for him, this fellow is truly amazing when it comes to picking up girls. The Empress laughed. Yi Lingshuang's lips moved closer to the Empress's ears as she whispered, causing the Empress's eyes to brighten. This fellow is truly capable. To think that he still has a mistress in the battle sword sect. Not only that, she's also a peerless beauty, much better compared to your royal father. Mother and daughter chatted idly, time flowed by unknowingly, yet there was still no movement from within. Why did the Holy Maiden take so long to enter? Prince asked. The Holy Maiden naturally has her own plans, we just need to wait quietly. The Empress unhappily glanced at the princes. If they were so impatient, how would they be able to accomplish great things? No wonder she, the descendant of the human emperor, was bullied by the various kings. The descendants of the human emperor were truly lacking in talent, they were even inferior to Yi Lingshuang. Time slowly flowed by, even the Empress herself was getting impatient. But when she thought of the Holy Maiden's words, she calmed herself down. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley also sensed that something was amiss. If it was just a simple medicinal pill, why would it take so long? Okay, you can enter now. At this moment, Mo Qingqing's voice drifted over. Everyone shook their heads with bitter smiles on their faces, silently musing that they were thinking too much. The Holy Maiden was treating the human emperor's injuries. What other matters could there be? Even they were thinking this way, how could the guards outside be suspicious? The human emperor was still quietly lying there, just like before. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing exchanged glances as they smiled. After which, he spoke, Empress, we will take our leave first. Does the Holy Maiden want to have a meal together? The Empress asked. There's no need. Mo Qingqing shook her head. Following behind Qin Wentian as they departed. Junior brother Qin, my fellow disciples from the battle sword sect have gone to the Yi country for a stroll. If you have time, you can bring the Holy Maiden there to relax. Yi Lingshuang smiled at Qin Wentian. Okay. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded his head. The two of them slowly departed. Nobody knew what happened in the human emperor's chambers earlier. Although the human emperor had a peaceful smile on his face, his heart was filled with shock. Even now he still had no way to calm down. These two fellows really have guts and boldness. As he thought of this, a smile appeared on the face of the human emperor. How good would it be if he had a pair of children like them? Sadly, although his daughter wasn't too bad, his sons weren't able to live up to expectations. Without him, there was no way he could dominate this vast ancient country. For the next few days, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing went in and out together, like shadows following the body. Every day, they would go to the human emperor's chambers to take a look, staying for an hour before leaving again. The relationship between them grew closer and closer. This was especially so for the relationship between the human emperor, Qin Wentian, and Mo Qingqing. Their relationship caused the other princes to feel jealousy. Today, in the human emperor's chambers, the human emperor was still lying on his bed, staring at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing as he smiled. Wentian, I have a request. I wish to accept you as my foster son. Are you willing? Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened. Evidently, he was taken aback. He didn't expect the human emperor to have such a thought. However, given the human emperor's status, it was true that he was favoring Qin Wentian. Although Qin Wentian understood how much the human emperor valued him, the fact that he wanted to accept him as his foster son was purely because their personalities were compatible. If you are unwilling, feel free to reject me directly. I won't put it in my heart. The human emperor laughed. Mo Qingqing was the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Their statuses were different, and it wasn't easy for the human emperor to accept her as his foster daughter. But if Qin Wentian agreed to be his foster son, Mo Qingqing would be like a daughter to him. How would Wentian dare to reject the human emperor's kindness? Qin Wentian recalled how he was an orphan since he was young, and was raised by Uncle Black and his foster father Qin Chuan. After roaming the world for so many years, how could he not feel fatigued? Sometimes, he wanted to return to the Sky Harmony city of Chu to take a look, but he knew that he couldn't afford to relax for even a moment. However, the Wentian Plains has a foster father named Qin Chuan. In the future when I meet him, I still have to report this matter to foster father Qin Chuan and seek his approval. Qin Wentian spoke. That's only natural. The human emperor nodded and smiled. The gaze he used to look at the two of them grew gentler and gentler. The empress also smiled as she stared at the two children. Her eyes shone with a motherly light as she smiled. Children, isn't it about time for you to change the way you address me? Wentian pays his respects to foster father and foster mother. Qin Wentian bowed to the human emperor and the empress. Momentarily, everyone in the chamber laughed, and the atmosphere was extremely warm and harmonious. Junior brother, I shall change the way I address you in the future and call you little brother. Yi Lingshuang giggled, thinking back to how she had called Qin Wentian a lecherous fellow not long ago in the battle sword sect. She couldn't help but feel a burst of laughter. The world was always so mysterious. Who would have thought that she and Qin Wentian would become siblings? Sister Lingshuang. Qin Wentian awkwardly called out. Yi Lingshuang glanced at Qin Wentian before glancing at the human emperor. Her eyes started to turn moist again, most probably thinking about the injuries of the human emperor, and how long he would be able to last. Even now, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing still didn't reveal any information to the others. It wasn't that they didn't trust them, but rather if this matter were to be leaked out, although they wouldn't tell others, it was inevitable that there would be mistakes in their actions. After all, it would take a long time for the human emperor to fully recover. Qin Wentian also thought of Qin Chuan and his sis Qin Yao. He decided that after he broke through to celestial phenomenon, he would return to Granxia and settle the matters there before returning to Chu to visit his foster father and sis Qin Yao. His foster father Qin Chuan had shown him kindness as heavy as a mountain. This parting of his had lasted for so many years. He didn't know how Qin Chuan was doing now. Had his sis Qin Yao married again? Wentian, I want you to be the crown prince of Yi. What do you think? At this moment, the human emperor's voice suddenly rang out in Qin Wentian's ears, causing his countenance to flicker. Staring at the look of anticipation in the human emperor's eyes, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Most probably, the human emperor knew that his sons wouldn't be able to shoulder such a heavy responsibility. Even if he handed over the Yi country in the future, they wouldn't be able to become the emperor of a generation. Without tyrannical strength, they wouldn't be able to dominate the various kings and dukes. Foster father, you mustn't. Wentian's ambition doesn't lie here. Qin Wentian knew that the human emperor wanted to hand over the Yi country to him. Most probably, the human emperor believed that with his talent, he would be able to contend against the various kings and dukes in the future, ruling over an ancient country. However, this wasn't Qin Wentian's ambition. The human emperor nodded his head lightly and didn't say anything more. In fact, he didn't even reveal the slightest hint of abnormality. This conversation was only known by the two of them. Chapter 536. After Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing left the human emperor's chamber, the human emperor and the others all had smiles on their faces as they stared at their departing silhouettes. These two little fellows are truly like glue. The empress sat beside the bed of the human emperor. Her slender and warm palms gently caressed the human emperor's face. Most probably only she could be so intimate with the human emperor. Are you thinking about us in the past again? The human emperor held the hands of the empress as he smiled. An apologetic look could be seen in his eyes. Once the two of them were lovers in the mortal world. After that, he broke through to celestial phenomenon and was chosen as a candidate for the position of the human emperor. He finally defeated all his competitors and officially became the crown prince of an ancient country. Many years later, his martial prowess was unrivaled in Yi, and he ascended to the throne. After becoming the human emperor, he had to suppress the various kings as well as unify the ancient country. Most importantly, his cultivation base couldn't fall behind. This was the foundation of him becoming the human emperor. Only with martial prowess would he be able to shake the world. This was also the reason why he was willing to appoint Qin Wentian as the crown prince. He knew very well that given the talent of his sons, it would be impossible for them to suppress the various kings and their descendants. Because of this, he naturally neglected the empress. During these years, he didn't have much time to accompany her. But now that he was seriously ill, The Empress had to take care of him all day, not leaving his side for even a moment. This was somewhat ironic, but it also caused him to feel touched in his heart. Wentian and Qingcheng, they are even more outstanding compared to us in the past. The Empress clasped the human emperor's hands tightly as a gentle light flashed in her eyes. The human emperor nodded his head. He also felt that the accomplishments of Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng would surpass him sooner or later. His ambition wasn't to unify the ancient country. This matter soon circulated out. After the various kings learned that the human emperor had accepted Qin Wentian as his foster son, they couldn't help but to investigate Qin Wentian's identity, while coldly laughing in their hearts. As a disciple of the battle sword sect, it was one thing for him to protect Yi Lingshuang. But now, he actually dared to interfere in the affairs of the royal clan of Yi? How audacious! Did he think that just because of his relationship with Mo Qingcheng, he could disregard the various kings and kings? Yi Kongfan originally already hated Qin Wentian in his heart. After hearing this news, the killing intent in his heart grew even stronger. This Qin Wentian was truly lawless. He actually dared to take the human emperor as his foster father. With regards to the reactions of the crowd, Qin Wentian didn't really care about it. He only felt that he and the human emperor were kindred spirits. Given the human emperor's status, it wasn't overboard for the human emperor to request for him to be his godson. In addition, the human emperor also knew of Qin Wentian's current condition. He was slowly recovering, which was why he made such a request. If the human emperor didn't have long to live, he wouldn't have made such a request to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian and thought Qin Wentian. The human Wentian Yi. You the emperor's Wentian's face, Chen's king the emperor's and the Qin's king Chen's the human emperor. The emperor Chen emperor the king family the Chan the emperor. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng strolled through the royal palace of the Yi country. Upon seeing the people following behind them, Mo Qingcheng suddenly smiled at Qin Wentian. Shall we go to the Yi country for a stroll? Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingcheng's bright eyes, his heart as clear as a mirror. He understood Mo Qingcheng's intentions. Most probably she also wanted to be like an ordinary person, accompanying the person she loved to stroll around the world, experiencing simple happiness. Sure. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. Mo Qingcheng couldn't help but smile sweetly when she saw Qin Wentian agreeing. After which, she turned her head and spoke to those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. I'm going out for a stroll, don't follow me. Holy maiden. Someone wanted to say something, yet they only saw a hint of imposingness flickering in Mo Qingcheng's eyes. Momentarily, that maiden felt disheartened as she shook her head. Yes, holy maiden. Mo Qingcheng turned and pulled on Qin Wentian's hand. You little lass. Qin Wentian shook his head lightly. In truth, although the conflict in the royal palace of the Yi country had yet to erupt, dark clouds were already looming over the entire country. At such a timing, Qin Wentian understood that the two of them shouldn't leave the royal palace. After all, Qin Wentian's intelligence was no longer the same as before, and he understood the treachery of the human heart. But with regards to Mo Qingcheng's request, how could he bear to reject? Hence, a smile appeared on his face as he soared into the air together with Mo Qingcheng. The royal capital of the Yi country was extremely flourishing. Everywhere was bustling with activity. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng were like ordinary people walking on the streets. But given their demeanor and looks, it was destined that they wouldn't be ordinary at all. There would always be gazes landing on them as they exclaimed in their hearts. In fact, many people were so stunned by Mo Qingcheng's beauty that they stood rooted to the ground, causing Mo Qingcheng to pout slightly in dissatisfaction. That adorable expression on her face caused Qin Wentian to smile happily. You're still smiling. Mo Qingcheng pinched Qin Wentian's waist, causing Qin Wentian to smile bitterly. Qingcheng, when we were in Chu, you didn't even dare to go out casually. Could it be that you still don't know how great your charm is? When we were in Chu, I thought it was because of my identity that everyone in Chu knew of me. But this is the Yi country, who would have thought that it would be the same? Mo Qingcheng pouted. When she was by Qin Wentian's side, she was like a young girl back then, pure and innocent. Who doesn't love to be beautiful in this world? Qin Wentian laughed. Just pretend that you didn't see anything. Dumbo. Mo Qingcheng took a few steps forward before turning her head back to glare at Qin Wentian. After which she elegantly turned and ran away. Qin Wentian had no choice but to follow after her. Just like that, they wandered aimlessly for a long time. The two of them were either walking on the streets, or taking a boat to cruise the lake, admiring the scenery of the ancient capital, or even taking a stroll on an ancient pathway filled with the fragrance of flowers. Qin Wentian's handsome countenance was filled with a gentle smile, while Emo Qingqing's countenance was filled with happiness. The two of them were like an immortal couple, envied by many. When they were tired from walking, the two of them decided to rest at a wine shop by the side of the lake, enjoying the unique fragrance of the wine while admiring the scenery of the lake. It had been a very long time since Qin Wentian had been so relaxed. "Wentian, why don't I bid farewell to Master after I return? I believe Master would agree to it." Emo Qingqing stared into Qin Wentian's eyes, as a thought appeared in her heart. "Don't." Qin Wentian decisively rejected. Staring at Emo Qingqing, and seeing the hidden bitterness in her eyes, Qin Wentian's heart softened. He gently spoke, "Qingqing, you don't even know the identity of the person who sent you to the Medicine Sovereign Valley back then. Your master regards you so highly, how can you let him down?" The status of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was transcendent. Emo Qingqing was conferred the title of Holy Maiden, and those who accompanied Emo Qingqing to the Medicine Sovereign Valley all treated her with reverence. From this, one could tell that Emo Qingqing's status in the Medicine Sovereign Valley was extremely high. Qin Wentian faintly felt that this had something to do with the person who sent Emo Qingqing to the Medicine Sovereign Valley back then. Emo Qingqing's debt of gratitude was as heavy as a mountain, but he didn't know who it was. Not only that, there was another reason that Qin Wentian didn't say. He deeply loved Emo Qingqing, but he didn't wish for her to become his vassal. Emo Qingqing could already concoct fifth-ranked medicinal pills. How terrifying was her alchemy genius! The Medicine Sovereign Valley was undoubtedly the most suitable place for her. How could Qin Wentian waste her time because of him? However, he also understood that Emo Qingqing was willing to give up everything to follow him. Wasn't this a sign of her deep feelings for him? "I understand," Emo Qingqing softly replied. Her eyes were as gentle as water, and could even melt hearts of stone. Emo Qingqing also understood Qin Wentian's intentions. Both of them had a tacit understanding, and they exchanged glances as radiant smiles appeared on their faces. Emo Qingqing would no longer mention the matter of leaving the Medicine Sovereign Valley. The two of them were filled with warmth, enjoying the peace. At another table in the wine shop, there were a few young cultivators seated there. One of them had a frivolous expression. His face was unnaturally fair, and his eyes gleamed with a nefarious light. At this moment he was staring at Qin Wentian and Emo Qingqing. Or more accurately, he was staring at Emo Qingqing. "To think that there's actually such a girl," the young man mused. After which, he glanced at the young man sitting opposite him, and the two of them smiled at each other. "Brother Chu, I'm truly fortunate to have invited me here today." The young man smiled. The young man who was addressed as Brother Chu had an understanding smile on his face as he replied, "I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first." "Haha." The young man laughed. "Brother Chu, take care." After the other party left, the young man continued to stare in the direction of Emo Qingqing in an unbridled manner. Qin Wentian naturally sensed this, but he didn't expect that in such an elegant place like this, he would actually meet such a person. How disappointing. "Qingqing, do you want to change our location?" Qin Wentian smiled. Emo Qingqing nodded her head. However, at this moment, the young man stood up and smiled. "Brother, please wait for a moment." Just when Qin Wentian was about to stand up, he didn't expect that the young man would actually stop him. His brows twitched as a cold light flickered in his eyes. "What's the matter?" Qin Wentian glanced at the young man. "I'm Dongshan Jin from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. I can see that you're extraordinary, and I have the intention to befriend you. I wonder if you would give me face and come over for a chat?" Dongshan Jin smiled, his words causing the hearts of the people around to tremble. So it turned out that this young man was that lecherous young master from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. This girl was truly unlucky to have encountered this devil incarnate. "Not interested," Qin Wentian faintly replied. Dongshan Jin frowned as a cold light flickered in his eyes. He threatened, "Sir, are you not giving me face?" Scram. A cold light flickered in Qin Wentian's eyes. Momentarily, the people behind Dong Shanjin all had cold expressions on their faces as they asked, "Little Marquis, what should we do?" Dong Shanjin's eyes flickered with a sinister light. His eyes were like venomous snakes as he stared at Qin Wentian. He laughed, "I gave you face but you don't want it. Since this is the case, kill this young man. However, don't injure that beautiful maiden in the slightest. If not, this young master will take your lives." Qin Wentian's brows were still furrowed. His perception permeated the area, and he could sense that there were people monitoring this area. That young man with the surname Chu was still here, and he didn't go too far away. This caused Qin Wentian's heart to be as clear as a mirror. This idiot Dong Shanjin must have become a chess piece used by someone else. As he thought of this, Qin Wentian silently shook his head. Since this was the case, meeting Dong Shanjin here was no longer a coincidence. Someone must have done this intentionally. Qin Wentian glanced at Mo Qingcheng. Both of them understood each other's intentions. They didn't expect that they would be targeted by someone else when they were out for a stroll. There was no need to think too much, they already knew who the culprit was. In the Yi country, other than Yi Kongfan, who else could they have offended? How beautiful! This young master is going to die from her beauty. Dong Shanjin didn't know that he was already on the path of death. He was still staring at Mo Qingcheng, fantasizing about some beautiful scenes as an evil light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 537. While Dong Shanjin was fantasizing, his subordinates had already surrounded Qin Wentian, releasing their auras. Even the weakest among them had a cultivation base at the peak of Yuanfu, while the strongest was at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, protecting Dong Shanjin. "Qingcheng, it seems like we have to return." Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingcheng as he shook his head with a bitter smile. Since there were people who wanted to target him and Mo Qingcheng, it was obvious that this trash Dong Shanjin wasn't the culprit. However, since he had promised Mo Qingcheng that he would accompany her for half a day, there was nothing for him to regret. Yi Kongfan wanted to kill him, but how could it be so easy? Mo Qingcheng had a look of disgust on her face as she stared at the people around her. The conversation between the two of them entered into Dong Shanjin's ears, causing him to be stunned. Although this young man and Mo Qingcheng both exuded extraordinary auras, they weren't even as old as him. How powerful could they be? Not only that, he, Dong Shanjin, was the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. He was naturally acquainted with the upper echelons of the Yi country. However, this Dong Shanjin could only blame himself for being ignorant and incompetent, idling about all day. If he paid more attention to the royal clan, he would definitely know that there were many new characters in the royal palace. And these people were all people that he, Dong Shanjin, couldn't afford to antagonize. "Little beauty, don't be anxious. I will still serve you well. What are you guys waiting for?" Dong Shanjin grew more and more impatient. He had never laid his hands on such a supreme beauty before. Now that he had met her in this wine shop, how could he not have evil intentions? However, he didn't know that it was precisely because of his lecherous nature that he was being used by others. "Vizi." A long saber slashed out towards Qin Wentian. A malevolent smile could be seen in the eyes of that person. He knew that he would be able to kill Qin Wentian with a single slash. Dang! A crisp sound rang out. The long saber slashed down on Qin Wentian's shoulder, intending to behead him. However, the saber was actually deflected, causing the expressions of those who were preparing to act to stiffen in fear. How powerful was Qin Wentian's current physique? And with the astral energy protecting his body, how could a person at the 1st level of the Heavenly Dipper realm be able to injure him? The expression on the guard's face changed several times. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. At this moment, Qin Wentian slowly stood up. Suddenly, a suffocating pressure enveloped the entire space. Qin Wentian's long hair fluttered in the wind and the gentle lines on his face gradually became devilishly handsome. His entire body emitted an unparalleled aura. "Unrelated people leave," Qin Wentian said faintly. In an instant, the silhouettes flickered and left. The people around Qin Wentian trembled slightly. Dong Shanjin wasn't a fool. At this moment, how could he not know that he might have offended someone with an extraordinary status? The guard beside him spoke, "Sir, If we have offended you today, please forgive us. We will leave immediately. Qin Wentian turned his head and waved his hand. Instantly a scream of agony rang out. A sword scar appeared in the center of the forehead of the guard, and he died instantly. The people around him all retreated as expressions of terror appeared on their faces. I'm the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. I won't pursue the matter of you killing my subordinates. How about this? Dong Shanjin's heart trembled when he saw the death of one of his subordinates. However, just as he spoke, Qin Wentian's gaze landed on him. In just an instant, he felt as though he had fallen into the depths of hell. A sense of despair and death enveloped him. Just a single glance from Qin Wentian was able to destroy all of his will to live. Qin Wentian took a step forward. Sword chi ravaged the entire space, and in an instant, more screams of agony rang out as several guards collapsed to the ground. Sir. The guard beside Dong Shanjin roared. Although Sir is very strong, the experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor are as numerous as the clouds. If you killed the junior Marquis, I'm afraid you would die as well. Qin Wentian acted as though he didn't hear his words. He took another step forward and instantly, that person felt a towering sword might boring down on him. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and slashed out with his palm. That person explosively retreated, but blood rained down from the sky as a bloody scar appeared in the center of his forehead. New. Viscous blood splattered onto Dong Shanjin's body. He howled, so frightened that his body trembled uncontrollably. Qin Wentian took another step forward. In that instant all the guards of Dong Shanjin screamed in agony, dying on the spot. Not a single one survived. Dong Shanjin's body directly slumped to the ground, like a pile of mud. He was so frightened that his soul was about to scatter. He stared at Qin Wentian as though he was looking at a devil. He had seen many experts before, but none of them could make him feel such despair. Qin Wentian walked towards him step by step, and with every step he took, there would be people dying. This was a form of mental destruction. After that surname Chu brought you here, he hid far away and monitored the movements here. I'm sure there would be people who would inform you that the Eastern Mountain Marquis men wanted to assassinate me. However, they would all die. After this battle, even if the Eastern Mountain Marquis killed me, the entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would be buried with me. Qin Wentian stared disdainfully at Dong Shanjin as he coldly spoke. The cold wind pierced into Dong Shanjin's body, causing him to feel as though he was in hell. Every sentence spoken by Qin Wentian caused him to feel a bone-piercing coldness. How cold? He wasn't so foolish. How could he not understand Qin Wentian's words? Qin Wentian not only wanted his life, but he also wanted to annihilate his entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. What a venomous scheme this was. Right now, he could naturally guess that the identity of this young man in front of him was definitely extraordinary. If he killed him, the entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would be buried with him. How stupid are you? Why would you be so easily used as a chess piece by others? Qin Wentian's voice was as cold as ever. Dong Shanjin suppressed his fear and climbed up. He stared at Qin Wentian. If you spare me, wouldn't their schemes have no way to succeed? Qin Wentian waved his palm as a palm imprint directly slammed into Dong Shanjin's head, killing him instantly. There were some things that he couldn't spare. If this person only offended him, his crime wouldn't be so severe that he deserved death. However, his words had humiliated Mo Qingcheng. Also, how despicable was his heart? If he, Qin Wentian, was weaker, how miserable would his ending be? He wasn't a saint. From the very start, Dong Shanjin was already destined to die. Maybe the mastermind had already predicted this ending. A raging wind gusted by. Qin Wentian's silhouette vanished from his original location. Far away in a corner, a silhouette was cowering in a corner, trembling in fear. When he sensed the sound of the wind, he started to flee with all his might. VZ. A gigantic force directly grabbed hold of the young man surnamed Chu, after which a gigantic palm imprint slammed into his throat. The countenance of the young man surnamed Chu was filled with terror as his body trembled unceasingly. Earlier, he had personally witnessed the deaths of Dong Shanjin and his companions. This young man was too decisive and terrifying. I'll speak, I'll tell you everything. Even before Qin Wentian finished speaking, the young man surnamed Chu already shouted. Qin Wentian didn't reply, he only waited quietly. Although he knew that there was no one else other than Yi Kongfan behind the scenes of this matter, he still wanted to hear what this young man knew. The Eagle Marquis Manor has some enmity with the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, and they wanted to borrow the knife of the Eastern Mountain Marquis to kill me. The Eastern Mountain Marquis is extremely protective, and although he knew that this son of his was useless, he still doted on him. It was precisely because of this that Dongshan Jin had the title of the Chaotic Devil King. Right now, the people from the Eastern Mountain Manor should be arriving soon. If Brother Qin doesn't leave now, it would be too late. If the Eastern Mountain Marquis knows that Dongshan Jin has died, even if he knows who you are, he would still act to kill you. Qin Wentian frowned as he coldly asked, "You know who I am? Who told you that?" The Holy Maiden's country-toppling beauty. The moment I saw her, I knew that this matter was grave. Initially I wanted to slip away, but I also wanted to see the ending. Who would have thought that Brother Qin would actually be able to sense my presence? Then how do you know who I am? Qin Wentian's voice was ice-cold. It wasn't strange that he knew of Mo Qingcheng, but his reputation shouldn't be that great. Sensing Qin Wentian's killing intent, the young man surnamed Chu's countenance turned ashen. From afar, a tyrannical aura gushed over. Evidently, the people of the Eastern Mountain Marquis had arrived. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows, while the young man surnamed Chu was filled with despair. He lowered his voice and spoke to Qin Wentian. Ever since I saw the Holy Maiden, I knew that this matter had something to do with the Qi King Manor. The Eagle Marquis listens to the Qi King Manor, and there was a rumor circulating recently, saying that the Holy Maiden had a promiscuous lifestyle, and actually what? Qin Wentian's voice was filled with killing intent. The young man surnamed Chu closed his eyes in despair. Even if Qin Wentian didn't kill him, it would be hard for him to escape death today. Those bastards from the Eagle Marquis Manor actually didn't tell him beforehand that this matter was targeted at the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. As he thought of this, the hatred in his heart grew even more intense, and he even hated the Qi King Manor. This news must have been spread by the Qi King Manor, slandering the Holy Maiden. They spread the rumor that the Holy Maiden was nothing but a licentious woman, spending 3 days with a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, Qin Wentian, in his chambers. The young man surnamed Chu gritted his teeth as he spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian directly slammed his palm down as a towering rage gushed forth from him. His silhouette flickered as he returned to the side of Mo Qingcheng. Staring at her countenance, the killing intent in his heart soared to the heavens. "Yi Kongfan, I want you to die!" Qin Wentian roared. He gently caressed Mo Qingcheng's face, only to see Mo Qingcheng smiling at him as she shook her head. "Wentian, it's fine. It's enough that you know me." Qin Wentian felt even more pain in his heart when he saw the expression on Mo Qingcheng's face. Mo Qingcheng didn't care about the gossip of others because she had already treated herself as his wife. What else could others say? But he didn't expect Yi Kongfan to be so despicable, using such rumors to slander others. He wanted to tarnish Mo Qingcheng's reputation, causing her to lose all standing and standing. Pulling Mo Qingcheng's hand, the two of them soared through the air. In front of them, a large number of experts were rushing over. Staring at Dongshan Jin's corpse, how could their killing intent not be terrifying? Glancing at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng, they instantly guessed their identities. How lamentable was that trash Dongshan Jin to think that he was so stupid to this extent, being used by others. But now it was already too late for him to back down. "The two of you, let's wait here for the Marquis to decide." The experts in front spoke, surrounding them. They didn't dare to act, but Dongshan Jin was already dead. If they let their enemy off, the Eastern Mountain Marquis would definitely kill them all. Hence, they could only leave Qin Wentian behind. "Vizi." The scarlet demon halberd appeared in Qin Wentian's hands. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying coldness as he icily spoke. "I'm Qin Wentian of the Battle Sword sect. The Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley is my first wife. The Qi King Manor slandered my wife's reputation and even borrowed a knife to kill me. If any of you dare to obstruct me, I will kill you all without mercy." After speaking, Qin Wentian's voice was like thunder, reverberating through a radius of tens of miles. He wanted everyone to know that Mo Qingcheng was his wife. This way, others would understand that these rumors were nothing but slander. Chapter 538. Qin Wentian's voice reverberated throughout the royal capital of Yi. Instantly, everyone knew of his identity. No wonder that maiden was so beautiful. She was actually the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. She was truly a beauty capable of toppling empires and empires. How could she be someone as beautiful as the rumors said? Not only that, Qin Wentian's words told everyone that Mo Qingqing was his wife, causing them to believe in Qin Wentian even more. Most probably, this matter was slandered by the Qi King Manor. The hatred in this voice towered up into the sky. Since this young man could obtain the love of the holy maiden, he must also be deeply in love with her. How could he allow her to suffer such slander? As for the slander from the Qi King Manor, it was very easy to understand. Right now in the royal capital of Yi, who didn't know that the situation in the royal palace was extremely tense? The human emperor was on the verge of death, and the Qi King led his forces to seize the throne. The holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley came here to save the human emperor. However, this idiot Dong Shanjin was truly foolish. Becoming a chess piece meant death for him no matter what. Even if they really killed the lover of the holy maiden, the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would surely be annihilated. It was rumored that this young man was a disciple of the Battle Sword sect. In front of the Battle Sword sect and the Medicine Sovereign Valley, how insignificant was the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor? Qin Wentian brandished his ancient halberd and advanced side by side with Mo Qingqing. Those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor stood in front of him, radiating killing intent as they roared, "Sir, we don't wish to offend you. Can you please wait for the Marquis's arrival before making a decision?" At this moment, those from the Eastern Mountain Manor were in a passive position. They didn't dare to directly kill Qin Wentian, but they also didn't dare to let him go. If the Eastern Mountain Marquis arrived and saw the death of his beloved son, he would definitely kill them. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was famous for being protective of his own people. If not, the Eastern Mountain Marquis wouldn't have chosen to make use of Dong Shanjin. "Those who obstruct me shall die." Qin Wentian's killing intent towered up into the skies as his terrifying bloodline frenziedly erupted forth. His entire person's aura was majestic, like a sovereign descending from the heavens. A supreme tyrannical might gushed forth, sweeping across the entire space as a terrifying demonic wind kicked up. At the same time, the heaven-punishing sword might gushed forth. So strong. Those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor felt their hearts trembling. How could he be so powerful? Qin Wentian only had a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, but now his aura was actually at the 5th level, and could even cause a 6th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign to tremble. How terrifying. In the center of Qin Wentian's brows a third eye appeared, exuding an incomparably demonic aura. Everywhere it passed by, those below the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper felt as though their minds were about to explode. There were even some who screamed in agony. Boom! Qin Wentian soared through the air as his killing intent engulfed the heavens and earth. Even those who were extremely far away from him could clearly feel the towering killing intent radiating from him. Evidently, the Qi King Manor had angered him by slandering his beloved wife, the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Boom! Step by step, screams of agony rang out unceasingly. There were some whose throats were directly slit by the sword Qi, dying instantly. Everyone was shocked. The person in the lead only had a cultivation base at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. As for the others, none of them dared to say they would be able to deal with Qin Wentian. Everyone knew that there was no way to resolve this matter peacefully. All of them released their astral novas. Qin Wentian released his demon sovereign astral soul, and in the air, rays of light cascaded downwards as terrifying demonic silhouettes appeared. He was like the lord of all demons. Rumbling sounds rang out as demonic beasts descended from the sky. All of them were at the peak of the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. Summoning an astral soul. How can the summoned demonic beasts be so powerful? The hearts of the crowd trembled. Qin Wentian spat out a single word, "Kill." As the sound of the word "kill" faded, the demonic beasts roared as the heavens and earth trembled violently. An incomparably gigantic golden primordial ape stomped down on an expert. That expert frantically tried to flee, but with a thunderous boom, That expert was trampled to death by the gigantic foot. The crimson blood thunder hawk transformed into a beam of blood-colored light, sweeping through the air. Fresh blood splattered as the head of an expert fell off, directly severed by the wings of the crimson blood thunder hawk. Do it! The 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign in the lead commanded the 3 6th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereigns beside him to act. The 3 of them advanced simultaneously, only to see Qin Wentian stepping out as sword chi gushed forth. Blasting out with his palms, a gigantic ancient bell materialized. The 3 experts who were rushing over only felt their hearts pounding violently as they groaned in agony. Qin Wentian blasted out with his left palm once more as a gigantic blood-colored palm imprint blasted out. One of the experts blocked with his palm, yet his palm imprint was directly corroded by the blood-colored palm imprint. After which, a beam of blood-colored light gushed into his body, directly transforming his arm into a pile of bones. Other 2 experts rushed to Qin Wentian's side, only to see Qin Wentian's scarlet demon halberd sweeping out. The 2 of them felt as though they had fallen into a boundless hell. Within the blood-colored hell, there was only a terrifying blood-colored light as numerous demonic halberds slashed their way. Poochie poochie, 2 sounds rang out one after another. In just an instant, the 3 6th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereigns had all died. At the same time, the summoned demonic beasts were also wreaking havoc, slaughtering the first wave of experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. How terrifying, as expected of a disciple of the Battle Sword sect. Their combat prowess is simply too terrifying. The spectators from afar felt their hearts pounding as they stared at the battle. Qin Wentian was simply too domineering. Those who dared to obstruct him, he killed them all without mercy. He continued walking forward. Although the expert in front of him was at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, the battle intent radiating from him was still extremely terrifying. The heart of the 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign was also pounding violently. He had personally witnessed 3 of his subordinates being slaughtered. The person in front of him was akin to a devil. A gigantic axe appeared in his hands as a towering might gushed forth from him, capable of crushing everything. It was even heavier than a mountain. Boom! Stepping out, a resplendent light shone from the tip of his axe as his astral souls and astral novas erupted forth at the same time. Astral light shone on the axe, amplifying its might. VZ. With stellar transposition, Qin Wentian's silhouette vanished. The scarlet demon halberd instantly appeared in front of his opponent, slashing out with his halberd, causing the entire space to tremble. His opponent's perception was also extremely strong. That terrifying axe of his slashed out, causing a beam of axe light to appear in the air. The radiance of his axe shone as it slashed down, colliding directly with the scarlet demon halberd. Bang! The violent collision caused the entire space to tremble as a terrifying vortex of air currents appeared. The 2 of them could feel the towering might of their opponent's attack. VZ. Qin Wentian's great dream astral soul and astral nova appeared as the center of his brows glowed with a brilliant light, wanting to cause his opponent to fall into a dreamscape. His opponent's will was extremely resolute, and similarly, a vertical rune appeared in the center of his brows, resembling a golden axe that exuded a terrifying sharpness. A gigantic axe appeared in Qin Wentian's left hand as he directly chopped out. A beam of axe light shook the heavens. This seemingly ordinary strike contained a terrifying might within. His opponent's countenance drastically changed, and with an explosive roar, a golden palm imprint erupted forth, colliding head-on with the gigantic axe. Qin Wentian's countenance was incomparably resolute, as his killing intent towered up into the sky. The king's sword slashed out, causing the entire space to tremble. The hearts of the spectators trembled unceasingly. They had personally witnessed Qin Wentian fighting against a terrifying 7th level, Heavenly Dipper Sovereign. Halberd after halberd slashed out with unstoppable might, and the might contained within each halberd strike caused the 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign to go all out. At the same time, Qin Wentian's astral nova wasn't any weaker compared to his opponent's. The 2 of them clashed violently, causing the entire space to tremble. With a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, Qin Wentian actually fought against a 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign. Although this 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign wasn't an outstanding genius and was merely a guard of the Marquis Manor, There was still a difference of 3 levels between them. Since you want to force me, just die then. That person was completely enraged after failing to defeat Qin Wentian despite attacking for a long time. The axe light in the center of his brows grew even brighter as an even more terrifying light enveloped his entire body. Both of his eyes were filled with a towering killing intent. Qin Wentian was as cold as ever, incomparably demonic. He stabbed out with his halberd again, forcing his opponent to defend. At the same time, he pointed out with his left finger, causing a towering blood-colored light to erupt forth, bringing with it an unparalleled might. The countenance of his opponent drastically changed. The golden axe in the center of his brows seemed to have flown out. However, a beam of blood-colored light flashed by and instantly, his body stiffened in the air. In the center of his brows, there was no longer a beam of golden axe light. Bzz! A raging wind gusted by. That beam of blood-colored light actually transformed into a towering silhouette. It had a blood-colored body and a pair of blood-colored wings. This blood-colored figure exuded a terrifying heat, as well as a pitch-black luster. It was like a ferocious beast that just walked out from purgatory. Is that a vermilion bird? The hearts of the crowd trembled as they stared at that incomparably baleful demonic beast. Its ferocious might engulfed the heavens and earth, causing even the astral beasts to tremble in fear. Purgatory! Qin Wentian called out. Momentarily, the purgatory vermilion bird turned its head, staring at Qin Wentian as it inclined its head and let out a long screech. After which, its silhouette flickered as it actually circled around Qin Wentian, as though it was extremely excited. After which, it bent down in front of Qin Wentian, only to see Qin Wentian holding Mo Qingqing's hand as they stepped onto the back of the purgatory vermilion bird. Another long screech rang out, as the ferocious might it exuded towered up into the skies. Those summoned astral war beasts appeared on both sides of the purgatory vermilion bird. The spectators were all stunned by the scene before them. Those experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor had all died. They came here to kill Qin Wentian. Yet all that was left behind were corpses. However, the handsome young man who seemed harmless was now like a descendant of a primordial demon king. He wielded a blood-colored halberd and stood on the back of the vermilion bird, advancing forward. The demonic beasts on both sides howled, all of them obeying his commands. This scene was too shocking. Everyone said that Yi Kongfan from the Qi King Manor was a heaven's chosen, and even the Violet Thunder sect regarded him highly. But how could he compare to this young man? From afar, another terrifying aura gushed over. Most probably, the experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor had arrived. However, the countenance of the purgatory vermilion bird didn't change. His killing intent was as terrifying as ever. He would kill whoever obstructed him. Chapter 539. This time around, the experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor were even more terrifying. Their eyes gleamed with coldness as they stared at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing, their hearts filled with terror. The two of them were riding on the vermilion bird, accompanied by the demonic beasts around them. Such a scene was simply too shocking. Qin Wentian gripped the scarlet demon halberd in his hands tightly, exuding a demonic aura. He stared ahead as he coldly spoke. Those who obstruct me shall die. Boom! Waves of towering might gushed forth. Several experts in front of him unleashed their auras at the same time. A gigantic sword slashed out, blocking in front of Qin Wentian as a thunderous roar rang out. Halt your steps, I won't kill you all. The Marquis Manor Lord will be arriving soon. Kill! As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, Purgatory let out a shrill cry as it rushed out. It spat out a beam of light as purgatory flames swept outwards. A purgatory lotus actually appeared in the air, wrapping around those experts and killing them. Arg! Screams of agony rang out. There were experts who died instantly, being incinerated into nothingness by the purgatory lotuses. How powerful! The crowd stared at the vermilion bird. The flames of the vermilion bird towered up into the sky. It was as though it could incinerate everything. The gigantic purgatory vermilion bird whizzed through the air, its wings flapping violently. Everything in its path was destroyed, and everything in its path was annihilated. Qin Wentian's countenance was as sharp as a blade, incomparably cold. The astral war beasts he summoned also soared out, ready to kill. Boom! Qin Wentian slowly stepped out, like a gust of wind, arriving before a 6th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereign as he slashed out with his scarlet demon halberd. In an instant that expert stared at Qin Wentian as terror flickered in his eyes. His mind was in a state of chaos, and with a piercing sound, the scarlet demon halberd pierced through his head, killing him. Qin Wentian didn't pause, his silhouette flickered. Everywhere the scarlet demon halberd passed by, corpses piled up as experts died in Qin Wentian's hands one after another. Purgatory dealt with the strongest experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, suppressing them completely. Everywhere the purgatory flames passed by, the experts all retreated. Impudent! From afar, a thunderous roar rang out as more and more experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor arrived. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was a marquis of a region. Other than that good-for-nothing son of his, Dongshan Jin, there was no need to doubt the strength of his power. The people of the royal sacred region were all extremely fervent in their pursuit of the martial path. The Yi country was extremely strict, and everything depended on one's strength to maintain it. If one didn't have enough strength, even if one was a descendant of the royal sacred region, they would still be banished, becoming someone without any power or influence. In the end, this world was one where strength was everything. Without strength, everything was just empty talk. Don't even think about power or fame. Even if you enjoyed the glory of your ancestors, you would still fall sooner or later. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was the nobility of the Yi country. His authority was naturally extremely powerful. Other than himself being a celestial phenomenon ascendant, there were also experts as common as the clouds in his manor. And just like at this moment, there were even more experts rushing over, including some at the 7th and 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. The moment these people arrived, they instantly surrounded the Purgatory Vermilion Bird and Qin Wentian, as a stifling pressure bore down on them. If it wasn't for the fact that they were wary of Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing's statuses, the corpses on the ground were already sufficient for them to directly kill Qin Wentian. Even if you are a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, you have to pay a price for killing so many people of my Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. One of them was the younger brother of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, and his cultivation base was at the peak of the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. He was extremely tyrannical, and upon seeing so many experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dying, he was naturally infuriated. So many people ganging up on my junior brother? Do you think my Battle Sword sect has no experts? From afar a voice boomed out as sharp as a sword, causing the hearts of those who heard it to tremble. The experts of the Battle Sword sect had arrived. Although there weren't many people from the Battle Sword sect, only around 10 of them, the instant they appeared, they gave the experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor an immense pressure. Although the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor was very powerful, and was the nobility of Yi, when compared to the Battle Sword sect of the 9 great sects, they were on a completely different level. Even when facing against a single person like Qin Wentian, they were already in a dilemma. Now that so many disciples of the Battle Sword sect had arrived, how would the people of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dare to act recklessly? Although all of you are from the Battle Sword sect, the Royal Sacred Region has its own rules. The Battle Sword sect cannot bully others too far. This brat killed my nephew, and he even dared to kill a descendant of the Marquis Manor in the royal capital of my Yi country. Does the Battle Sword sect still want to stand up for him? The younger brother of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, Dongshan Tung, exuded an extremely tyrannical aura. Duan Han stepped out, and an instant later, a sharp sword was unsheathed behind him. This sword was extremely thin, and exuded a bone-piercing coldness. The body of the sword was like water, and there was a hint of blackness to it, causing people to feel an intense sense of danger. I heard that the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis dared to be disrespectful to the Holy Maiden. The Holy Maiden and my junior apprentice brother are lovers. What's the big deal about killing him? If anyone from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dares to interfere in this matter, I will take it as a crime of conniving with Dongshan Jin. The entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor will be implicated and killed without mercy. Duan Han wielded his sword as his black robes fluttered in the wind. An intense killing intent gushed forth from him, and a stifling sword might cause those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor to feel a terrifying pressure. They knew that this person was none other than Duan Han, the ninth personal disciple under Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. The weight of his words was extremely heavy, and the moment he spoke it was no longer just condemning Dong Shanjin. Even if he killed Dong Shanjin, it would be a waste of his life. If anyone from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor interfered, they would be implicated. How brazen, as expected of someone from the Battle Sword sect. Although the Battle Sword sect has 9 great sects, the disciples of each mountain are extremely united. Out of the 9 great sects, the Battle Sword sect has the least number of disciples, but the members of the Battle Sword sect are all extremely protective. I've truly witnessed it today. The people in the surroundings sighed in their hearts. A single sentence from Duan Han had completely crushed the morale of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. Dong Shantung's countenance turned ashen, yet at this moment, he only saw Qin Wenqian's eyes flashing with an incomparable coldness. He continued walking forward, his killing intent gushing forth. The Purgatory Vermilion Bird stood protectively in front of him, and Mo Qingcheng stood beside him. He actually wanted to walk past the people from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, wanting to see who would dare to obstruct him. This is an important place in the Yi country. How can you be so brazen? After killing someone, you want to leave just like that? Even if the Battle Sword sect were to blame you in the future, don't tell me that the Battle Sword sect dares to humiliate our Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor? Dong Shantung roared. After which, he stretched out his palm, grabbing towards Qin Wenqian. A gigantic palm imprint crushed the void, emitting terrifying rumbling sounds. Die! Duan Han spat out, his killing intent was terrifying. His silhouette flickered, moving like a gust of wind. After which, the sharpness of his black sword slashed out, slicing apart the void. A black line appeared in the air, slicing the void apart. Dong Shantung's countenance drastically changed. He only felt his vision turning dark as he couldn't see anything. He instantly retracted his palm, but it was already too late. The sound of splattering rang out as the sword slashed past soundlessly. One of Duan Han's arms was directly severed from his body. You dare! Dong Shantung roared in rage. Duan Han took a step forward as a patch of darkness appeared in the air. At the place where Duan Han was at, the sky seemed to have darkened. Dong Shantung was like a blind man. His eyes were clearly open, yet all he could see was darkness. An extremely dangerous gust of wind blew past. There was no sign of life at all. Dong Shantung's countenance turned pale. After which, the crowd only saw a line of blood appearing as Dong Shantung's head was separated from his body. A single slash. In other directions, battles erupted. But most of the gazes were focused on Duan Han's sword. That sword was too powerful, too sharp, too terrifying. Duan Han only slashed out twice. The first slash severed Dong Shantung's arm, while the second slashed off his head. Junior brother, let's go. Duan Han turned his gaze onto Qin Wenqian. Qin Wenqian nodded his head to Duan Han. The Purgatory Vermilion Bird continued to open up a path, and everywhere it passed, blood splattered. The experts of the Battle Sword sect began their slaughter, their sword chi rampaging unstoppably, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. The same thought appeared in their minds. The Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor was finished. The people of the Battle Sword sect didn't care about reason at all, sweeping through everything in their path. Since those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dared to act, they would kill them all without mercy. In the blink of an eye, the battlefield was cleaned up. The group of people from the Battle Sword sect all exuded killing intent. They already knew the cause and effect of this incident. Today, when they were touring the royal capital of Yi country, they had already heard many rumors regarding Qin Wenqian and Mo Qingcheng. There were people slandering Mo Qingcheng. At that time they were all thinking, if Qin Wenqian knew about this, how would he endure it? This matter was definitely done by Yi Kongfan. In that case, their Battle Sword sect would definitely demand an explanation from Yi Kongfan. Even if this place was the Yi country, even if Yi Kongfan was a disciple of the Violet Thunder sect, if they didn't vent their anger, where would the face of the Battle Sword sect be? Staring at the towering killing intent from the experts of the Battle Sword sect, countless people felt their hearts trembling. They all followed behind the experts of the Battle Sword sect. They wanted to know what the ending would be. From afar, another towering might gushed over. This time around it was an incomparably terrifying might at the celestial phenomenon realm, simply terrifying to the extreme. In the air a constellation could be seen. The Eastern Mountain Marquis has arrived. The hearts of the crowd trembled. However, the experts of the battle sword sect didn't stop, continuing forward. An umbrella appeared in Qin Wentian's hands. This umbrella emanated a fearsome lightning energy, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble in fear. This was none other than the 5th-rank divine weapon he obtained back in the Xianqing city. It was originally in the possession of an expert from the Violet Thunder sect, but he managed to snatch it away. Duan Han's heart stirred. He clenched his fists tightly as his countenance turned incomparably cold. His killing intent was terrifying as he stared at the silhouettes in front of him. The Eastern Mountain Marquis personally led a group of experts here. "My son!" The Eastern Mountain Marquis roared in rage. His eyes were like ice as his killing intent engulfed the heavens and earth. "Not only did you all kill my son, you even killed a member of my Marquis manor. Since this is the case, even if I have to leave the Yi country and be hunted down by the battle sword sect, I will kill every single one of you. Go and repent for me." After the Eastern Mountain Marquis spoke, he dashed forward. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as the thunder umbrella in his hand blasted out, causing numerous bolts of destructive lightning to erupt forth. The Eastern Mountain Marquis howled in rage and slammed his palms downwards. Astral light cascaded down from the skies as a gigantic saber cleaved through the air, slamming into the destructive lightning. And at the same time, Duan Han coldly spoke, "Kill." As the sound of his voice faded, the heavens and earth turned pitch black. The disciples of the battle sword sect all stepped out at the same time, slashing out with their swords. Duan Han's palms blasted outwards as a beam of sword light flashed through the darkness, slashing apart the celestial phenomenon. The spectators only saw a beam of white light slashing down from the darkness, as well as the pale white countenance of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. Pucci! The light flashed as the darkness dissipated. The body of the Eastern Mountain Marquis was split into two. A celestial phenomenon ascendant Marquis was killed in an instant. Domineering, these people from the battle sword sect were simply too domineering. Chapter 540. The Eastern Mountain Marquis, the nobility of the Yi country, led his people over, his anger towering up into the sky. He didn't care about the price he had to pay to kill the disciples of the battle sword sect before departing. His cultivation base was at the celestial phenomenon realm, and one couldn't help but say that the person who made use of Dongshan Jin had already succeeded. They were certain that given the personality of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, he would definitely seek revenge. But who would have thought that the moment the Eastern Mountain Marquis arrived, he was instantly killed on the spot. Staring at the severed body, the hearts of everyone couldn't help but to tremble violently as their breathing quickened. The battle sword sect, one of the 9 great sects, how could their reputation be undeserved? When the Eastern Mountain Marquis appeared, Qin Wentian immediately used a terrifying attack-type divine weapon that could threaten even low-level ascendants. Although the Eastern Mountain Marquis managed to block it, he didn't manage to block the second strike. Duan Han's palm glowed with a brilliant light. It was impossible to tell what divine weapon it was. One could only tell that Duan Han's grasp of timing was extremely accurate. Just as the Eastern Mountain Marquis blocked the attack of Qin Wentian's divine weapon, darkness appeared. The members of the battle sword sect acted at the same time, disrupting the perception of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. Duan Han unleashed a sure-kill strike. The power contained within the darkness was even more terrifying compared to Qin Wentian's divine weapon, directly killing the Eastern Mountain Marquis. This Duan Han was the 9th personal disciple under Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. How could he not have any tyrannical methods? That beam of light earlier was definitely something Sword Sovereign Ling Tian left behind for him to deal with celestial phenomenon ascendants. This Duan Han's personality was also extremely ruthless and decisive. The instant the Eastern Mountain Marquis appeared, he killed him with no hesitation at all, giving the Eastern Mountain Marquis no time to unleash his full strength. Kill! Duan Han's silhouette didn't pause for a moment. He stepped out, his black robes fluttering in the wind. His pitch-black eyes caused the people from the Eastern Mountain Marquis manor to feel a sense of despair. Even the Eastern Mountain Marquis was killed in an instant. How could they stand against these disciples of the battle sword sect? Leaving aside the others, just Duan Han, who was at the peak of the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. How could his combat prowess be compared to the 9th level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns? Not only that, other than Duan Han, the other disciples of the Battle Sword sect were all extremely powerful. There was even one at the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper, and quite a few at the 7th level. And indeed, Duan Han slaughtered his way into the crowd of people from the Eastern Mountain Marquee Manor, killing one with each strike. His sword light was like a resplendent light in the dark night. Everyone finally understood why he was clad in black. The brilliance of his sword was unblockable. In just an instant, those from the Eastern Mountain Marquee Manor were all massacred, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble in fear. How decisive was this slaughter? Although everyone understood that since both sides clashed, one side would definitely die, the ruthlessness and decisiveness of the disciples of the Battle Sword sect still caused the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Most probably, this was the difference between the disciples of the great sects and ordinary people. If not, how would they be able to dominate an entire region, causing everyone in the world to revere them? Qin Wentian's countenance was like ice as he rode on the vermilion bird. The disciples of the Battle Sword sect followed behind him. Now that the Eastern Mountain Marquis had died, there was no one else who could obstruct Qin Wentian and the others. The group of them continued on their way towards the royal palace. In the Qi King Manor, Yi Kongfan was infuriated after he received the news. His countenance was ice-cold as he stared at the people below. Such a complicated plan had actually failed. How did the people of the Battle Sword sect discover this so quickly? Didn't I tell you all to send people to watch over them? Yi Kongfan coldly spoke. When he learned that Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing had left the royal palace alone, he immediately ordered his men to execute the plan, preparing to kill Qin Wentian. His subordinates also executed the plan well, finding the Eastern Mountain Marquis to bear the blame for this crime. The Eastern Mountain Marquis had always been impulsive. He wasn't afraid of anything. However, he doted on that mischievous Dong Shanjin. If Dong Shanjin died in the hands of Qin Wentian, he would spare no expense to kill Qin Wentian. As expected, Dong Shanjin died. Although Qin Wentian clearly knew that this was a plot, given his arrogant personality and how much he valued Mo Qingqing, he still killed Dong Shanjin. Everything was going according to plan, but they had still underestimated Qin Wentian's strength, as well as those from the Battle Sword sect. Duan Han from the Battle Sword sect sensed that something was wrong. He immediately ignored the obstructions and directly went to search for Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. The people below lowered their heads as they reported. This Duan Han was calm and decisive. He was an extremely difficult character to deal with. They had done all they could to deal with him, yet he completely ignored them. Kongfan, this Duan Han is the personal disciple of Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. There's no doubt that he's extraordinary. Not only that, he also has a trump card that can kill celestial phenomenon ascendants. This time around we have underestimated our enemies. A person beside Yi Kongfan spoke. Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely heavy, yet he nodded his head lightly. But it doesn't matter. Aren't they extremely angry and want to come to the Qi King Palace to settle the debt? Since this is the case, let's teach them a lesson. That's right. If they dare to come here, things would truly be interesting. The people beside him laughed. Yi Kongfan stared at the people below as he coldly commanded, immediately gather all the peak-level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns in the Qi King Palace. Since it's inconvenient for celestial phenomenon ascendants to participate, let's use our strongest strength to suppress them. Roger. The people below acknowledged and retreated. Yi Kongfan stood up and flicked his sleeves as he spoke. Let's go, we will wait for them outside. In the human emperor's chamber, the human emperor was lying on his bed with the empress and royal concubine by his side. At this moment, the resting human emperor suddenly opened his eyes as a cold light flickered within. After which, the human emperor stared at the empress and spoke, "Help me summon Shi Xian here. Tell Ling Shuang to come as well." The eyes of the empress flickered as she stared at the human emperor. The human emperor nodded to her as she obeyed his orders and left. Not too long after, a young man exuding a baleful aura and Yi Lingshuang appeared together in the human emperor's chamber. Human emperor. Shi Xian bowed to the human emperor. Summon the Heavenly Dipper camp of the Iron Blood camp, and the Divine Arrow camp of the Heavenly Dipper camp. At the same time, passed the command talismans of the two camps to Ling Shuang. The human emperor spoke to Shi Xian. Shi Xian's eyes flashed with sharpness, but he didn't hesitate as he bowed to the human emperor. Roger. After speaking, he took out two command talismans. One of them had an image of a divine arrow engraved on it, while the other had a blood-colored image. Princess Ling Shuang. Shi Xian passed the command talismans to Yi Ling Shuang. Yi Ling Shuang glanced at the human emperor, and upon seeing him nodding to her, she accepted the command talismans. Her heart was filled with bewilderment. She had never heard of the Iron Blood Camp and Divine Arrow Camp before. Most probably, these two were the direct subordinates of her royal father and should be extraordinary. Your subordinate will go now. Shi Xian spoke to the human emperor, only to hear the human emperor instructing him again. You will lead the Dragon Elephant army and provide support from the shadows. Don't reveal yourself. Roger. Shi Xian nodded as he retreated. Human emperor. The empress had a look of worry on her face as she stared at the human emperor. She knew who Shi Xian was and also knew what the Dragon Elephant army represented. Did the human emperor intend to expose them? Don't worry, the Qi King no longer has any respect for the emperor. Since this is the case, I really want to see how much strength he has exactly. The human emperor's eyes flashed with sharpness as he stared at Yi Ling Shuang. Wentian was assassinated by Yi Kongfan, and Yi Kongfan spread rumors to slander Qingqing's reputation. Right now, Wentian is heading to the royal palace with the members of the Battle Sword sect, and will definitely head to the Qi King palace. At that time, Yi Kongfan will order his men to deal a heavy blow to the members of the Battle Sword sect. You will lead the troops from the two camps and pass down the human emperor's decree. The crown prince of the Qi King, Yi Kongfan, is suspected of slandering the reputation of the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, and wanted to harm my foster son. If the Qi King resists, they will be treated as traitors. The countenances of the Empress and Yi Ling Shuang drastically changed. Right now, the Qi King already controlled a lot of power. The only reason why he didn't seize the throne was because the human emperor was still alive. After all, the human emperor's combat prowess was heaven-defying, invincible in Yi. The Qi King wasn't willing to take the risk until he died from the poison. He would rather wait. But now that the human emperor took the initiative to attack, the entire Yi country would be in chaos, forcing the Qi King to rebel. Royal father. Yi Ling Shuang turned pale with fright as she called out. Ling Shuang, just do as I say. If the Qi King rebelled, he would definitely be able to affect everyone else. We would be able to see clearly how many people would rebel. The human emperor calmly spoke. If the Qi King directly attacks us, how should we deal with it? Yi Ling Shuang asked. Don't worry, he wouldn't dare to. The human emperor seemed to be extremely clear about everything, as though he had regained his former glory. Upon seeing the expression on the human emperor's face, the empress couldn't help but feel her heart trembling. After which she added, Ling Shuang, just do as your royal father says. Ling Shuang, Shi Xian will handle the unnecessary matters. You don't have to worry. What you need to do is to help Wentian, and let Yi Kongfan see his true self clearly. I also want to know how Wentian will kill Yi Kongfan. A sharp glint flashed in Ren Huang's eyes. It was as if he had regained the peerless elegance of the past. Outside the human emperor palace, experts gathered as killing intent towered up into the heavens. The hearts of everyone were pounding violently. Those from the human emperor's faction were all worried for the human emperor, while those from the Qi King's faction were all laughing coldly in their hearts. Was the human emperor finally at his limit? How could it be so easy for him to fight to the death? As they thought of this, sinister smiles appeared on their faces. Most probably, the human emperor's reign was already over, and the Yi country was about to change. The Qi King palace exuded boundless majesty and was heavily guarded. Outside the palace, there was a golden-colored pathway that led to the Qi King palace. At this moment, a group of silhouettes appeared in the air, their auras towering up into the heavens, exuding a bone-chilling killing intent. Who dares to barge into the Qi King palace? A cold voice drifted over from the walls of the palace. Duan Han, clad in black, walked out as he coldly snorted. Yi Kongfan from the Violet Thunder sect. Since you dared to do such a despicable thing, scram the hell out. Scram the hell out. Scram the hell out. His voice reverberated through the air, echoing throughout the Qi King Palace, causing the countenances of many in the Qi King Palace to drastically change. There was actually someone so audacious, daring to challenge the prestige of the crown prince. Yi Kongfan stood at the top of a flight of stairs within the palace, staring into the horizons. How could he go out? If he didn't accuse Duan Han of barging into the Qi King Palace, how could he deal with the disciples of the Battle Sword sect? This isn't a place you can come to. Scram! Yi Kongfan roared, his voice reverberating through the air, actually clashing with Duan Han's voice. Duan Han's black eyes flickered with a cold light. How could he not know what Yi Kongfan was thinking? He slowly stepped out as he commanded, "Kill your way in." "Hold on." A voice drifted over from afar. Duan Han and the rest turned their gazes over, only to see Yi Lingshuang exuding a towering baleful aura. She was clad in armor, exuding a heroic aura as she arrived outside the Qi King Manor not long after. Yi Lingshuang stood in the air as she roared in rage. The crown prince of the Qi King, Yi Kongfan, spread rumors and slandered the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. He even plotted to kill those from the Eastern Mountain Manor, wanting to harm the foster son of the human emperor, Qin Wentian. Right now, the human emperor has issued an order to capture Yi Kongfan. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.